All right, let's just begin. Oh, I'm really red again on the camera. I don't know what that is about. It keeps happening. I'm not normally this red. I don't know what that's about. Hello, everyone. How are you all doing? Let me get my Twitch chat up on my phone. I haven't got it on. Hope you're all doing well. You're having a nice Thursday. I'm very tired today. I've had a long day, up early. Shall on blood moon. Yeah, I had a long day, early start, first journey back into the office this year, first journey from this house as well. It was a very interesting experience, and I did all the wrong choices this morning on the journey in. Took the wrong walking route into work, walking route to the station. I can hear alerts now as well. Thank you for the sub, Microman. Appreciate it. 23 months. Wow. That's crazy. It's hard to believe that I've been doing this for almost 3 years now. Be 3 years. Is it 3 years? I think it is. Yeah, it'd be 3 years in June. May, June, something like that. I don't know. But yeah, I took the wrong route to the station, so wasted time. Thank you for the bits as well, Nikomo. I appreciate it. Just going to knock the tunes down a bit. They're a bit loud. Hey, Skunk Monkey. Hey, monsters. Yeah, and when I got to the station, I missed the train by 5 minutes, so I should have set off 5 minutes earlier, or taken a better route. And then I got off the train too early, so I got off one stop too early, so I ended up longer on the tube. I didn't realise that the tube line I was on went to the same station that the train went to on the next stop, so I could have saved myself about 10 minutes there as well, instead of walking through Finsbury Park. So yeah, it was a bit of an annoying day. And then I get home to find out my Switch. You probably can't see it, but my Switch had been knocked off the shelf there onto the floor. This is probably about 5 foot high, and it's wood floor as well, so that was kind of annoying. And the PS Vita had been knocked off as well, so I was less than happy when I got back. Needless to say, the cats are now banned from this room. So thankfully, both devices are fine. There's nothing wrong with them. I gave them a quick test. But now the cats are banned from the room. The thing is they've been absolutely fine in this room, but because they were left for a bit longer today, they kind of went mental. So it's fine. The cats just get banned from this room, and this room becomes a little less cat cavey and a little bit more man cavey. So I'm gonna actually rearrange the room slightly tomorrow. So on the next stream, you'll see this area will be directly behind me. So I'm going to put the couch with the shelves directly behind me, and then that way I get one of the major advantages is I get an entire wall that I can fill with shelves as well. So go and get a cat redeem. Well, the cats, I'll still let them in here when I'm in here, just not when I'm not. When I'm away from home, they're definitely banned from being in here. Because one of the cats as well had decided to turn one of my utility bills into confetti as well, which I mean I'm perfectly happy for them to destroy my bills, but I still have to pay them. So yeah, she does that when she gets. It's the one that was chewing on an envelope the other night, and she's obviously just finished the job this afternoon. So yeah, I don't know what to do about them with that. I fed them extra this morning, but what I maybe should have done was I maybe need to get one of them timed feeders, but I worry that with the timed feeders, they'll bully each other, and one cat will get all 3 meals, and the others will get nothing. So I need to have a think about how to deal with that. Get a dog. A dog would be worse. A dog would destroy everything. The difference with a dog and a cat is when you come in and you show the cat looks at you and says, like, I give a fuck. But with a dog, it's going to look at you and goes, it wasn't me. It just wasn't me. It knows it's done wrong, but it wasn't me. The big reveal is I don't think cats are people. They are my little babies. But they're in my bad books today. So, but yeah, my experience with dogs is they tend to, when they're alone, they When they're alone, they do sometimes go a little bit mental. It does depend on the dogs, but I've had a few dogs in my time, and definitely my last dog was an absolute nightmare when it got left alone. It would rip the couch, it would chew cushions, and anything it could get its teeth into, basically cupboards and cupboard doors, and even just doors as well. If you left a door open, it would chew the corner of the doors as well. And it had plenty of toys. It went for plenty of walks. It just didn't seem to behave well. Oops, hang on, I pressed the wrong button on my thing. Right, let me give you all some points. Where's my God, what have I done? I've pressed all the wrong buttons on my phone. All right, tell you what, let me give you some points. Can't see that. The other opportunity as well with moving the room around is I get a chance to arrange things a little bit so that I can see my second monitor a little bit easier. So I get to kind of reorganize the room, both for streaming and for gaming as well. It also means as well with the cat tree gone out of here, because I've moved the cat tree into the spare bedroom now. So the spare bedroom is the cats; they can destroy that all they want, but they're not coming in here. Yeah, with those kind, I've got room for CRTs now, so I could probably get a CRT for some of the consoles, which would be kind of cool. I don't know. We'll have to see. All right, so tonight we're going to do some. Twitch has changed the sidebar, has it? I've not actually looked at the chat bar today. Let's have a look. Oh, I don't even know how to get. Oh, we'll get it to it on here, don't we? Oh, it looks the same to me. Yeah, maybe they're A/B testing it or something. Oh, the online list looks awful. It's always looked awful to me, to be honest. Eh. It doesn't really mean anything to me, that list. It's so hard to use that as anything. Kick-on community. I'm not going to do it now. No, the extra space is so crazy hard to scroll through. It wouldn't surprise me. Twitch do like to change things randomly, and it does get a bit annoying. Thanks for the bits as well, Andy. I missed that one. Thank you very much. So we're going to do some Cecconoid tonight. I'm not drinking alcohol because I'm really tired, and the only alcohol I've got is Kraken rum or vodka, and I really don't fancy drinking that while I feel this tired. So I'm just going to be drinking Bar's Limeade tonight, which is delicious, by the way. Completely unhealthy. I'm pretty sure it's toxic. I'm pretty sure if you poured this into a glass and turned the lights off, it would glow. But it is absolutely delicious, so I'm going to drink it. So cheers. Bar Shandy only 5% alcohol. Yes. Thank you, Anna Rich, for the resub. I appreciate it. Yeah, well, let's get cracking. I really enjoyed playing games the other night, by the way. So I think the next time I do a game stream will be middle of April. Well, there'll definitely be one. There might be one before then, but there will definitely be one in the middle of April because I get my Sindon light guns. So I'm looking forward to playing some like Time Crisis and Point Blank and stuff like that. Mainly PlayStation games. They always had the best light gun games, but there is a few older games I want to play. Like I want to play Wolf and Operation Wolf and Operation Thunderbolt. Maybe some Duck Hunt as well. Looking forward to that. And that's another good advantage of moving everything round, means I can move the couch slightly further away from the TV. And the recommended distance is 1.5 screen width. So I'm about 1 screen width if I hold a gun out in front of me like that. So I'd have to move kind of back behind the couch otherwise. But if I move things around, I will have more room between me and the screen, so that will be better. It does mean I won't be able to see the screen very well though when I'm working. But I mean, I have the font this big, so I'm sure I'll be all right. Okay, let's have a look where we were at. I think we were just in the middle of doing the behaviours. So there's a few things I've been thinking about over the past couple of days. Is this going to compile, build even? Firstly, is kind of what I need to do on this screen. So I think what I need to do is I need to finish this behavior so that it bounces around the screen properly. Shouldn't be too difficult. We've already got the vertical bounce. We just need to do the horizontal bounce. We need to add some reaction to the player bullets. Oh, pardon me. Which again shouldn't be hard because we do know that an enemy's being hit because we can actually hit it like that. We need to add. Yeah, see, it is bouncing. It's got a little bit of a buffer as it hits the wall, but I'm not too fussed about that. The change that we'd have to make this pixel perfect collision against the walls would just it would add so much extra kind of processing time to it. Because at the moment, what it's doing is it's picking the 4 characters that fit neatest behind this. Sometimes that's 4 in the top corner, sometimes in the bottom corner, sometimes it's slap bang in the middle. But what it means is it kind of overlaps slightly with the background. Another way to possibly do it is to add extra characters around it, do some more checks around. But that's the performance I'm worried about doing, because at the moment it just grabs the characters underneath it once, and then you can do what you want with those. And the reason why that's important is because of the next bit that I want to do, which is these passable areas. So we can move through these, we can shoot through these, but the enemies will bounce off them. So you'll see once I get them bouncing horizontally that they'll bounce off these things because they're just treated as solid elements in the die just after the 4 lasers. Yeah, what do you think? Do you think we're pretty close to replicating the game? I think we are. I think we're doing all right. Yeah, let me start the quiz for you guys. There you go. Wordle's up, I think, as well, if you want to play that. Yeah, I think good. That's kind of what I'm aiming for. I want it to feel as much like the original as possible, with only absolutely necessary compromises. So yeah, these passable areas, they are stored as rectangles basically. So there's a rectangle which says from this character to this. So from this top left character to this bottom right character is an area where collision shouldn't matter. So what we'll do is in our collision fetch routine for the enemies, we'll check that against these areas and just remove any collision that might overlap with these areas. So that should be a fairly easy thing to do as well. I'm saying this, but as every time I say this, it ends up being way more complicated than I expect it to be, and takes way more streams than possible. So, hey, Retro Rusty, that's not Sean, by the way, Andy. You just saw Retro and assumed it was Sean. I don't know. Maybe his name is Sean. And the other thing we need to do is player to enemy collision. So for that, we'll use hardware collision as an initial check. So if we bump into a sprite, we'll then go and do bounding box checks. The reason why we want to use hardware collision, because we don't really want to do bounding box checks against all enemies every frame. That's just going to be really heavy. So the best way to do it is to basically only do that check when you actually bump into an actual sprite. I don't think there's any way we can divide that list of sprites into a smaller list based just off. Oh yeah, we can, because we know which sprite number you've collided against. So we will be able to narrow it down to a list of sprites that we've hit. Hardware collision with Plexi, yes. Yeah, actually, I mean, it's worked out all right with this, because we do it for the laser, but because of the way we read it, it's just check them. Yeah, exactly. That's what we're gonna do. Because we just read it once on a frame, it's pretty safe. It's worked well for the laser anyway, so we shall see. Anyway, we'll be able to do some testing. And then the other thing, which is something that I've been thinking about for a while, since Nicomo mentioned it a couple of weeks back now, probably a couple of months back, is achievements. And I was thinking about how we could do the achievements, because what I don't want to do is have achievements which are constantly like a big long program basically, which runs and says check this for this, check this. I don't want that. What I want is something which is scriptable, kind of like we're doing with the entity script, but specific for achievements. And my idea is quite simple. We're going to use the retro achievement style of kind of achievement checking, which is to just check memory addresses. So we're going to check memory addresses for certain conditions, and that means we can crunch that check down into maybe. I mean, if we're just checking a memory address for a particular value, we can do the same thing again. So we can have opcode memory address value. So it would be like a 4-byte string, which would say, and the opcode would say is equal to, is less than, things like that. So we can have a couple in there. And maybe the ability to string one or two, two or three of these together. So what I'm thinking is maybe between 8 and 16 bytes per achievement, and then they can be stored somewhere in the persistent memory, so that it's always loaded. And then we'll have 50 bits somewhere, which will just be what it'd be. 5, 6, 7. It would be 7 bytes. I'm assuming there's 50 achievements. Say there is 50 achievements. There'll be 7 bytes somewhere stored in memory, which will be loaded from the cartridge save RAM, so that you can. Assuming there's sequence, you can skip ahead. Yeah. So the idea will be, so instead of checking all 50 achievements, what we'll do is we'll have an index into the array of achievement scripts, if you like. They're not really scripts, it's just memory addresses to check and how to check them. And then what it will do is every frame it will just pick the next one off the list. So basically it will take up to the maximum amount of time it will take for an achievement to trigger is 1 second, which I think is fine. If there's 50 achievements, we're running at 50 frames a second. That means a worst case scenario is you've only just checked the achievement and then you actually get it on the next frame. Then you'll have to wait 50 frames for it to check. It will probably get faster and faster because we don't need to check stuff that's already been achieved. Whether or not we just check one per frame, whether it's been achieved or not, I don't know. We can now that's Sean. Yeah, you've got the right Sean this time. You missed it, Sean. Andy was just saying hi, Sean, to Retro Rusty, because his name started with Retro. He assumed it was you. So yeah, that was my thought. And the other thought was how to display them. Well, I realised that there's one area of the screen where sprites never go, and that's in the HUD area and in this top row here. So if you look at a worst case scenario, we have the player moving up to this position. You can see I get in, and then actually I never hit the top row, but I should be able to multiplex or just add 3 or 4 sprites to the multiplexer here, into which the achievements are drawn, basically. So, and that will fit nicely here. They're 21 pixels high, 24 wide. So if you put 4 in there, it means you can't have anything else on that row, really. I mean, enemies should bounce off here anyway. They shouldn't go up here. So enemies will have to have a bound as well, which we need to actually fix in here, because at the moment they won't have a bounds. They'll just keep going down. So they need to have a bounds check so that they can bounce off areas. But yeah, basically we can have sprites that come over here. The advantage of that is we can animate them in as well. The only thing we might have to do in order to have that look nice is blank out a bit of the screen while they animate in, because otherwise you'd have to have 2 layers of sprites, one with a black background, one with a white background. There might be ways we can cheat that by using expanded sprites. I don't know. I'll have to have a think about it, but that's something to think on at some point, and it's something that needs to be persistent in memory. So I want to get that done relatively soon so that we can see how much room we've got. The other thing we do need to do as well is finish the weapons off, because the weapons at the moment are not complete. There's a 3-spread shot that needs to happen, and a 3-spread laser that needs to happen as well. And those two need a little bit of extra code. Not much, but they do need a little bit of extra code. And you can see from the memory map, we are quite tight on memory. I think we've got a little bit down in game code low, and we can probably sneak some at the end of the screen persistent code, because I don't think this is going to fill the entire. What would that be? It would be 8 kilobytes. Is that right? 8 kilobytes? Yes. I don't think that's going to fill the entire 8 kilobytes, so I think there'll be a little bit at the end of that. Unfortunately, enemies so far don't traverse screens. No, and the positions reset when you go up and back. Yes, by the single shot ones like the rockets. I assume the single shot ones just disappear when you go off. I've not actually checked that. My cats are being annoying. I can hear them. They're protesting the fact that I've moved their cat tree. They're now treating the stairs as some kind of racetrack. They're not being good cats, not being good kitties today. They're being very annoying. They fire and don't reset. Well, that's perfect because that kind of fits neatly into how we're gonna get them. So we've got a rocket on. Oh, it's not on this. I think it's on the next screen down here. I can't shoot through these because I've not got the data loaded for them yet. But I think there's some rockets on this screen, or they might be here actually as well. But no, I think they're on the next screen down. God, they really are running around like lunatics. I might take an early break in 20 minutes or so and go and give them some treats. It might shut them up for a bit. The turrets fire faster though, but I don't think it's much of an issue. The turret's on the other screen back here. Thank you very much, SPXKC, for the sub. Appreciate it. Welcome to the stream. I heard the alert. Did you not hear it? I heard it. I'm just being slow, that's all. Hey, old school coder, welcome. I was just about to say, is nobody... after like... No, I've got them turned on today. The reason I didn't have them on last time is because the sound comes out of my sound bar under my TV. And when I was playing games, obviously I wasn't on the same input source on the TV, so I just didn't hear them. So it was tricky. I need to set that up. I found my dongle for my PlayStation headphones, so I think next time I do a game stream, I'll probably just use headphones or something. Because unfortunately, I can't fit. I haven't got a cable long enough to do normal headphones. All right, so what do we need to do then? Let's just restart and have a look again, and I'll explain what we need to do next. So we're going to start by finishing off the. That's your mate too. Well, thank you very much, SPXKC, and welcome to the stream. And sorry that you know Sean. I tried my best, but that's what came out. Okay, right. Okay, so yeah, at the moment they're just bouncing vertically like this. As I say, I'm not going to worry about the fact that they're absorbing into the background a little bit yet. If there's more room for performance later on, because we are quite tight on performance in many places, but if we do need a bit more accuracy on here, I would like to fix it, but I don't want to do it until I know everything that's being used on each screen. And the enemies is a kind of a global thing. So we'll do the horizontal bounce next, and what we'll see is this one kind of bounce off these walls here, which is a good test for the passable areas. So we'll do that first. I get paid $10 an hour. What, to be Sean's friend? It's not bad. Oh my god, you've done 2 rounds and only got 1 letter. 3 rounds and only got 1 letter. All right, cool. So we need to do horizontal bounce. So that should be pretty easy. We can just edit the bounce behavior down here. We started doing it already. I'd done this. Wait, what's it? Oh yeah, we do. Okay, we're checking. Hang on, let's look at this. I feel like this could be done. Oh no, because we had to check if it was 0 as well, didn't we? So, because if it's 0, we need to do. Yeah, unfortunately, the way the the collision works means that there is 2 checks to do, which is a bit of a shame. I'm just wondering if there's a way to simplify this. Let me have a think about this. Wait, which one is this? This is checking vertical, isn't it? Oh yeah. So all right. So what we're doing is we're first of all checking the vertical bounce, and if the delta is positive, then we check the bottom 2 spaces. So as I say, we've got a grid of 4 characters that have the collision has been picked for. And then the check is first of all, we check the left-hand side. If it's blank, then we check the right-hand side. If it's more than 190, actually, this is a constant. We need to put that in as a constant, so it makes more sense. Let me just close some of these screens down. Hang on. I put a constant in specifically for this, and it should be C0 or 192, whatever it's going to be in here. And it is something like end of free charge before particles. No, it's not end of font space. No, that's not end of font space. Is that CF? Hang on, let me check that. It's the base one, isn't it? Yeah. Wait, why is that? Why do these live here? They shouldn't live here. Have I accidentally put them in when I shouldn't? You've got bullets. What is this? Is this just another decal? That's a decal, isn't it? Yeah. That's a bullet. That's a decal. Right. So why have I got another decal here? Oh, I don't think they're used at all. I should probably remove these. So that should be CF or D0. So the end of font space is the last character that can be used in the font. So the fact that this is CF means that these must be overridden. We can confirm that by just going into the debugger and just having a look at the map. That pixel is a bullet, that pixel is a decal. Yeah. It's because they're animated. So the pixels and the decals look very similar. This game is just full of like single dot kind of particle things going on. I think in the main game, everything is a particle. Everything's treated like particles, and they just give them different velocities and stuff and gravities. But here, we actually treat particles and bullets differently. So to save kind of particle space, because managing particles is quite expensive. Managing decals is expensive as well. So rather than have 4 particles for every single shot that we take, we just draw this little character animation over the top. And I think it's that one there, those characters there, and these ones are the bullets here, because you've got horizontal, vertical, diagonal, and other diagonal. And these get copied into memory from the bullet file. So there's a bullet file, weapons, here we go, which has all the different bullets in the different directions. And you can see that the triple shot needs to be changed, because at the moment it's just a single bullet with 3 things in. So, okay, so what I want to do, I want to check in the debugger first. I just want to make sure that the font is being used up to there, and then we'll adjust that method to use this constant instead, so it's a bit easier to read. All right, I need to. Oh, I've not got my charger for my phone either. Damn it! Something else I'll do on the break. Grab my charger. It should be fine. 39% battery. It might just about last to the end of the stream. Okay, so we want to look at the font, which is that one there. So you can see this is that block I was saying that I think is going to get overridden. So we're just looking for this font set to overtake here. So if I go just between screens a few times, you'll see them fill up. Yeah, so it is filling up. You can see it's overwriting it here, and it's only stopping when it gets to this point, and then it's going back there again. So it's it is safe to use that. Okay, that's good. So we've confirmed that. So that means we can use this value instead in the enemies, and then that's going to make this a little bit easier. So let's have a look. What do we want to do? If it's less than this value, then we're bouncing. So it needs to be equal to or less than that value here. No, it needs to be less than. Yeah, it needs to be less than that value. Right, and now can I simplify those branches as well? Do they have to be BCC, BCS? Well, the BCS is to done, so this is just instead of using a jump, so it's just a byte saving thing there. What about this check here? So we're checking if it's a 0, it's clear, but also if it's more than or equal to this value, it's clear as well. I mean, yeah, it kind of has to be like that, doesn't it? I'm trying to think there's another way of doing this where we can combine these two somehow, but I don't think there is. Because what we're checking here is if the value is between 1 and, in fact, I'll put this on the end, in this case, CF. So from 0, 1 to CF. So, yeah, we kind of have to do that, I think. Because of that annoying 0 there, basically. We have to check that. Which is a little bit of a kind of... Well, it's not really a flaw in the collision, because I think the reason I've done it is because the simplest collision check is going to be this, checking if it's equal to 0. Because that's going to mean that there is nothing there. There's just a space there. If it's in this range, then it's considered to be solid, unless it's a defined passable area. And if it's more than this, it's either HUD, particles, bullets, or decals. It's something that you can actually pass through. Annoying 0 here. Concatenating instead of just overwriting from 0. What's the reason for concatenating instead of... Oh, so the reason is so that when the screens move, you mean the character set? Is that what you mean? The character set that changes on the fly? Yeah. So the reason for that is when you move from one screen to another, there is more than 256 characters in the entire map. So what we do is we make a rule where we say, okay, we're going to reserve, in this case, 208 characters, 207 actually, because of the 0. We're going to reserve 208 characters. And so no two screens can have more than 208 characters. No two adjacent screens can have more than 208 characters between them. And then what we do when we move between the screens, we just load in the next screen's characters into the next part of the font set, and it allows us to scroll between the screens rather than just flick between the screens. It means you can have the previous screen still showing while the new one slides in, and then the characters that have now been slid off the screen can be reused for the next screen as you slide in. It allows you to kind of, as you'll see in our character set, we've got way more than so we've got 432 characters. So yeah, it allows us to do the scrolling. It's an advantage of using the cartridge. It allows us to kind of load things in dynamically, and there's a lot of that in this game. This game loads so much in dynamically from map, and the map is never loaded into memory in one go. It's just banked in from the cartridge. The bit that you require is pulled out of it and copied into RAM. Everything else is just banked out again. So it's only ever one screen displayed at a time. The character set is the same. That's also just banked in. So the entire character set is in a bank in the cartridge. That gets banked in when the map starts scrolling, and the correct characters get pulled out of that and load in. Could you multiplex characters? You kind of can, yeah. I mean, there's lots of demo effects that do something similar, but yeah, you can change character sets halfway down the screen. The thing with changing character sets is you can only do it on after. So whenever you get a bad line, it basically reads the data for the next 8 lines. But what it does is it reads address pointers basically for the next line as offsets into the current character bank. So what will happen is if you change that data, it doesn't. Well, it's not even address pointers, I don't think, because that data's already there. It does something weird, but basically, if you try and change the data after the bad line, it won't. So if you draw like a character A, and then halfway down that line you change it to a B, you'll still see A in that location because it's read that it was an A here. Likewise, if you were to try and actually, I think you can change the data in there, but you can't change the actual character in that location. But what you can do is you can change the Vic bank that it points to. So you can point to a different bank instead, or a different character location, a different char-rom location, a char-ram location, should I say. And therefore you can kind of switch between different fonts on the fly as you go down, but they have to be in different area of memory. Once you've gone past that, the 8 lines that have been read from that bad line, then you can change the characters again, and they will be read. So sometimes you will see weird bugs in programs where somebody's trying to change a character as the raster is just past the top of that character, and it won't display, and you'll get weird artifacts with things. So it's always worth being aware of that. But there's lots of things you can do with that effect. Like a lot of the twister effects use something similar to that. They switch they switch character sets to display a rotated version of the previous character set. It's not even, the character sets aren't curved or anything. They're just shifted across. And by switching out the banks on each line, you can kind of create a wavy effect in the character sets. And if you fill the entire memory with different kind of rotations of that column, if you like, you can create really kind of interesting twist effects as well. So that's how twisters work. As SP says as well, that's how the parallax effects in Flimbo's Quest are done. So you have a map, and you have a character set for that map, and you maybe use like the first 128 characters for the foreground, and then you have a repeating pattern, or a repeat. For fuck's sake, get down! Right. Out. No, out. Go on, fuck off. Out. Once again, knocked it off. Jesus fucking Christ. That's it now. They don't come in here. They're banned. They're absolutely banned from this room now. Not even coming in here when I'm in here now. She jumped on this the other day and ripped it off the wall. She's that fat, she ripped it off the wall. Yeah, they are cats and they are cunning. I can think of another word beginning with the same first 3 letters as well. But it doesn't end in inning or unning. Anyway, I love them to bits, but she's really annoyed me today. She's been very disruptive and very destructive. And she knows she's not supposed to go up there. She was jumping up on top of this shelf as well behind me. Like, it's really high. She was jumping up there, and I had a few things up there. It was just a empty Jaguar box up there now, but calm, breathe, calm, breathe. So yeah, I've kicked them out now. They don't come in here. Full stop. They've lost all privilege. They just lost kind of the privilege of coming in here when I was away, but now they've lost the privilege of coming in here. Full stop. She's not allowed to come in here. She can't keep things. She's knocked something else off as well. What else did she knock off? Oh, the Pocket Go as well. She's knocked off. Okay, so let's do the rest of this bounce. So this is just doing the Y bounce, and this is doing the actual reverse. So I'm just going to copy this entire thing, and then we'll edit it for X as well. Now X is going to need a little bit more work because we need to do 16-bit, 9-bit, 9-bit value here instead. The good thing is we don't have to think about the possible areas in here. We grab these values which are already grabbed in the update function. So when an enemy updates, it automatically grabs the stuff that's behind it. Yeah, the cats do. The thing is, they've got tons of toys, and they've got this massive cat tree that's freaking huge. They've got stairs that they've been running up and down. They're happy to do that, but she has to jump on freaking shelves with shit on them. She's terrible. She was using. I've got like a little piano stool over there, and she was using that the other day, and she was running down the stairs across the room, using the piano stool as like a vault, like a gymnastics vault, and landing on top of my Mega 65. Like, no, I'm not having that. She's destructive, and I just can't. I can't be doing with her in a room with all this stuff. I gave her the chance. She's been good for 2 months, but I think now she's settled in. She's like, yep, this is my domain now. I do what I please. So she's just banned now. And like a good teacher, I've banned all the children from the room now, and so she has to now think about what she's denied the other children. Little shit she is. Never mind. Right, where was I? Bounce. I think I've copied that. Haven't I lost where I'm at now? Yes, here we go. Right, check X bounce. Yeah, there we go. Right. Catch young or old. There, one of them's the youngest is 4. The other 2 are probably, I want to say 7 or no, 8 years old. The other 2. Yeah, it sounds about right. So they're not that old, but they are very energetic. She's always been very energetic, even though she's a fat shit. She eats too much, and she just probably wants to burn it all off. They don't go out though. That's the thing. They've always been indoor cats, but they've got plenty of toys. They have stuff they can play with. They've got the all the little racetracks and little cuddly toys and catnip toys and little chasey ball things and mice with treats in it, and they got plenty of stuff. They just want to be destructive, and it's her more than anything. The other 2 are fine. You know, I actually thought about that. Like, can you get like a hamster wheel for cats? There must be something like that, because I think she'd love it. She'd probably get in it and run for hours. So yeah, yeah, tell me about it, right? Let them smoke a joint, they'll calm down. Anyway, so we're looking at Delta X now. Now, Delta X is going to have an MSB on it. Oh, no, it's not, because our Delta's 8-bit and 8-bit fractional, so it doesn't have an MSB, but we do have an MSB to deal with on the X position itself. So if Delta X is positive, what do we need to check? Well, we need to check the right-hand side of the sprite. So we're going to check top right and bottom right. So that's defined here. So everything else stays the same. I feel like this could possibly be a little method that we call, but then we'd have the overhead of the jump. So it's better to keep it unrolled like this, I guess. And negative, we need to check top left and bottom left, and jump to bounce. So the bounce is quite simple. The bounce is pretty much the same as the Y. The difference is going to be how we actually do the inversion of the actually, it's not even a huge change here. This stays exactly the same. Actually, yeah, I do feel like this could be made more efficient byte-wise, but I don't think it's that bad. They just slap it until it fell over. Yeah, they probably would, actually. My girlfriend says there are hamster wheels for cats, but they actually have to like it. I might look into that. Oh, you're in Germany, though, aren't you? But if she knows where I'm sorry to ask your girlfriend a question, but if she can find a link for one that I can use to then kind of find a British one, I will try. Oh, are they massive? But they've got a whole spare room. They've got a whole room to themselves upstairs. Yeah, I might have a look for one, because that could be interesting. Well, I can just imagine in the middle of the night just seeing them running around on a wheel. Thank you very much, Nick May. Yeah, Amazon. Yeah, good point. Yeah, I got it. Andy. You just like using Listen. You just want any excuse to use Listen. Okay, well, I think this is pretty much all we need to do, and it should bounce. Let's try it out and see what happens. Oh, what's that soup? Is it Pet Zoo or something? It's called. There is a. Yeah, I'll find it. I'll find it. Okay, they've not got Y deltas. That's why. Okay, so here we go. Anyway, I'm going to try and forget about the cats for now because they've already annoyed me. I don't need to get more annoyed with them. Apply delta. All right, this is our deltas here. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to do same speed. I'm just going to match the deltas here, actually. And then we'll match what they are in the actual game at some point, once we know it's working. Because we need to do the passable areas next anyway, so... Oh, there we go. There's one. Let me click on it. El Mato 10702. Holy shit. Damn, that is a lot. Thing though is if they like it, I mean, don't know. Is it if it's fulfilled by Amazon? I mean, if it's from Amazon, no, it's not. Okay. If it was an Amazon stocked one, I could always send it back if they didn't like it. Jesus, that does look big. Actually, that is kind of huge. I might have a think about that. It's an option, yeah. Yeah, if I can find one on Amazon, if I can find one that's actually supplied by Amazon, then the returns process will be painless. Because I don't want to spend 250 quid on something that big that they don't like, because then I've just got this huge thing lying around that I've got no room for, that the cats don't want to use. If they do like it, then yeah. That's much I'm Also, I can imagine them running around and stopping and being shocked that it just flings them round a few times. Yeah, I need to find something. I need to figure something out with her because she's just of like the last week or two, she's been a bit of a pain. Okay, why are they not? Did I make a mistake somewhere here? No. Okay, why am I not? Did apply? Oh, maybe apply delta doesn't do anything yet. Yes, we're only doing the Y. Okay. So we're only doing Y delta here, so we need to do X delta here. So this is the bit where we're going to need the weird 16-bit 16-bit thing, but it should be pretty easy to do. So so this is where we are going to need some extra kind of logic here to handle this. So we need to add a 16-bit value to a 20. Well, yeah, to a 24-bit value. So, but we also need to know if it's positive or negative, because if it's negative, we need to do it slightly differently. The logic I posted in the 6502 room won't work here because it's not an 8-bit value and a 16-bit value. It's a 16 and a 24, so it's not going to work exactly. So, question actually is, can you power these? Oh man, that would be great. If she really enjoyed running in it and she was just in it all day long, that would be amazing. I would hook it up to stuff. I'd make it play tunes while she was on it or something. So we'll do a little check here. Let's put a done here so we know we're done. And let's do a pos and neg here so we know what we're jumping to. So we'll just have a different routine depending on if it's positive or negative. So this will obviously be our positive one. So that needs to be in there as well. And we're going to do this based on the upper value here, the delta X, not the delta Y as it says here. So we're going to do that one first. If that's minus, we're going to jump to a negative down here. At which point we deal with this slightly differently because we're now... actually, no, we don't, because it's still adding... Hang on, no, we don't need to change it here at all. I always get confused with this. Right, hang on. If we've got FF like that, and I want to add FF to it, that's going to give me FE, right? Because it's going to give me FE, and I'm going to carry one. and that's going to get FF, and which is correct. So I don't need to. I just need to add them. It shouldn't matter. It shouldn't make any difference here whatsoever. Oh no, because I've got the last byte. Hang on, let me think about this. I always struggle with this. Always struggle with this. It's like signed maths just seems to make my head hurt. Okay, so let's think about this. Right, if I add that to there, right, and then I add this to X plus. Oh yeah, it's this bit here, isn't it? This bit here now. What is it? Should probably do this way around. Hang on. Yeah, okay. We can use the other method that I did. We can definitely use it. All right. So we would add 0 like that and then store that. So this is being stored in XPOS MSB, I think it's going to be called. Possibly. Let's have a look. XPOS, XMSB, not XPOS. So XMSB. Okay, then all we need to do is we do need to do a check here where we're going to check this value. And we're going to say if that's positive, jump to pos. Otherwise, we're going to decrease this value. Is that right? Yes, we decrease that value. Okay, so we decrease that right now. Can we do decrease comma y? I bet we cannot. Bet that's going to be one that we can't do. I don't think we can actually. I think it's exactly one of those that we can't. Decrease. No, we can do comma x. All right, so can I use X here? X register is free to use. Okay, well, we only need to use it in this case, so it seems a little bit counterintuitive. 2, 4. Just trying to work out what's the most efficient way of doing this now. So it'd be 4 extra cycles before this, or I can do, and this is 6, so that'd be 10 cycles. So this, we can either do this, which is 10 cycles total, or we can do which is going to be 2, 3. Actually, this is probably 7 cycles. So this is 11 total. Let me check. Decrease comma x, I think is 7 cycles. Absolute x, yeah, 7 cycles. So this is 11 total. This will be 3, 5, 7, 5, 12. So 11 or 12. Well, I mean, it's got to be that way, right? That is the more efficient. Can you do so? Yeah, I mean, you could self mod this value here as well, I guess. You could check. Yeah, you could change this value here to FF. So you could, but then you'd have to set it as well. You'd have to make sure you set it to 0 and then set it to FF if it was negative. So another way you could possibly do it is, oh no, I think this is probably fine. Yeah, the self mod would be a bit slower if anything. This is fine. Because if we did it with self mod, we'd have to make sure we always reset this every time, which means regardless of what this branch is doing, you're always going to have a load 0 store in the self mod location. Then this would just change it to FF if need be. I was thinking maybe you could use this value and just store it in here, but this value could be FF, could be FE, could be could be anything. This should be fine. This should be fine. But we don't need any of this, so that's good. Don't need that either. The other alternative, of course, is we move this to the top, but then again, you'd be doing that all the time, so it'd be 4 cycles. It always happens. It's just because of this stupid command only works on the X register. 7, 11. If we branch, it's 3, so it would be a 10 cycle difference if you take this path. It would be taking 3 cycles to jump from here to here without it, and it would be 2 cycles to get to here plus these here, which would be a total of 13. So it's an extra 10 cycles to do this if the thing is going backwards. Not a huge deal. We do need to store the we do need to use the fractionals. We do need to use we need to use everything else. That's fine. It's fine. I can live with that. It's not going to happen many times a frame, and it's going to happen once per enemy per frame. So, and there's not that many enemies on the screens. But hopefully now we should see these things bouncing around a bit better. So, okay, they're behaving really oddly. Oh, maybe this is because. Okay, let me think about this. If they bounce off one surface, why are they getting stuck there? So it's bouncing, and it should bounce this way, and it's not doing. But it is reversing direction. But it shouldn't be reversing. Oh, I know why. It's because it's in here. So once it gets into that area there, once it gets to this point and it hits the kind of thing there, it's now decided that there's 2 elisions things that it's collided with here. So it's going to change direction because it's got a vertical thing, but because those 2, one of them happens to also be on this side, it's going to change direction this way as well. So it's this one here. So it thinks there's also something on this side. So I think what we should probably do is, if we do bounce off something here, is to clear these 2 up here. So it's just using the ones on the side then. And that should solve our issue. So one should not reverse, only one axis. It's what I'm saying basically. So what we really need to do is when it does this bounce here, we need to clear these 2, whichever 2 it is. But the problem is we don't know which 2 it is at this point. So what we can do is we can put this bounce here, and this will allow us then to change these values. So let's do let's call this one bounce pause. I'm trying to do this in a way that it doesn't break anything else. I think this should be fine. I think if we just clear these collisions to say we've checked our stuff here and we can clear them, it's no longer considered bouncing, then it will stop those affecting the horizontal bounce as well. The only other way to do it is we bite the bullet and we add extra layers of collision in as well. Because at the moment, this we're sharing the collision that we use for checking bullets against the enemy with checking against the scenery. The alternatives, we add an extra 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 collision areas. So instead of 4, we take 12. Might be too much. I mean, we could reduce it to 8 if we use the direction to pick which ones we display. But I think we're kind of in very slow territory there if we start doing that. Actually, let's just, before I do this, let's just have a look. Let's have a look at what that looks like. So this is where we grab it. So each one is taking 2 cycles. I think this is, I want to say 3, but I might be wrong. I can never remember the indirect ones. Load accumulator. Might be 5 actually. Indirect 0 page Y 5. Yeah, all right. So this is 5. This is 2, so that's 7. This is 5, so that's 10, 12, 2, 2. So 14 cycles, and then a branch if it's not collided. Oh no, if it has collided. So one of these is going to be correct. So this is 5 cycles. So this is a total of 19 cycles per check, pretty much. Actually, no, because the last one is not. So, let's assume that they. Oh, actually, it's checking if it bunch of equal collide. Oh, so this is actually for bullet collisions. So we can actually do equal collide. Yeah, we'd still need. Oh no, it's not going to grab everything. Hang on, this is tricky because this means if you shoot something, it stops checking the collision. So if we shoot something while it's checking the top left, it's going to stop grabbing the collision for that point. So we do need to work on this a little bit. So if I shoot something here, it might start behaving differently, but it's going to. I think we're going to have to suck it up and do this, I think. So what I'm going to do. I'm going to redo this bit. I'm going to have to think about how to do this differently. So instead, what I'm going to do, we're going to have a collide grid instead. Might as well get this right now, and this is going to fix that bounce. So when it collided left or right, it should only. Yeah, the problem is what's happening is we've got a collision that's been detected. Right, these are the 4 characters. If these two collide with a wall, right, they've hit that wall. But the problem is it then checks left and right, and it sees that we're moving left, and look, it sees that there's a wall there. It's checking both of them on each side because they're not unique to that side. So what I'm suggesting we do instead is we have 2 layers of collision. So we have the basic bullet collision, which is going to be our characters like this in the middle. So these are the ones that are used for bullets. These ones still need to be recorded because actually no, they don't need to be recorded. Is there any reason we'd need to know beyond that? So we probably wouldn't need to store these. If we do this quicker. Yes, all right, we can do this in two portions. All right, cool. So then what we'll do after we've done this, we will keep these values top left, top right, bottom left. Or no, actually we'll do this is what I'm thinking, right? So we're going to have vertical collisions, which are a character ahead, and horizontal collisions, which are a character on either side. Which ones we pick will be based on which direction we're moving. So if we're moving this way, then we don't need these ones here. So those ones will be ignored. Likewise, if we're moving down, we don't need these ones here. So there'll still only be 4 areas that are picked. And they can be stored in like H1, H2, V1, V2, collide H1, collide H2. Then that way we're only checking 4 extra locations. The values that we pick from here can be calculated from. We could probably have a lookup table for those for the offsets. So we'd have to change our offset first of all. So instead of 0 being here, 0 would now need to be in this corner here. So we need to move our check back 1 character in either direction. That would make this 41, 42, 81, 82. Yeah, they do bounce off each other as well. That might be a little bit trickier. Not to say it couldn't happen. It definitely could happen, but it might be a little bit more difficult. So that's one of the compromises that I was considering to do. But we will be doing some hardware collisions, so we might be able to squeeze it in. I just want to make sure we get this exactly right. So. So the first step is we get rid of these. We don't need to store these. Let's just do these in a different place. That makes this section quicker. Let's get rid of this because we no longer need to store them. Instead, we're going to store a different set. So we're going to do this collision. That's absolutely fine. But we're going to store, and we'll do that kind of here, I guess, somewhere. No collide is here. Jump done here. No collide. Yeah, so we can do it kind of here, basically. So let's put a little note in to say grab directional specific collision. Okay. Right, so that's what we'll do there. So the other thing we're going to need to do is we can get rid of this. We don't need this anymore. The thing we're going to need to do is change this screen vec location. At the moment, that screen vec is based on the position that we get from the enemy, but the position we get from the enemy is calculated here based on that location. So what we need to do is subtract less. Subtract more border. So we treat it like there's an extra 8 pixels in the border, and that'll shift everything back one char. So if I subtract 4 here, so this is subtract border plus 1 char to get yeah, that's I'll know what that is. That's fine. 1 char. I've done this so many times before as well. And here, instead of subtracting 50, we're going to subtract 58. What that will do, that will give us a character location that's one character above the top and to the rest, top and to the left. And then we just need to change these values here. So this stops being 0 and becomes 41 or 29 in hex, and this becomes 81 in hex. And this way, we should still be able to hit them with bullets. They're not gonna collide with the screen anymore. With the background, but we should still be able to hit them with bullets, and that's just what I want to test first. We should probably put a little border. Yeah, let's stick a. Before I do this, let me put a border thing in here so we can see just how much time these are taking. So this is our update function, so we'll do increase here, because this needs to be pretty efficient, I would say, or as efficient as we can get it anyway. Yeah, because we've got the behavior calls as well, so it does need to be very efficient. Can probably remove the behavior call. Oh no, yeah, let's remove the behaviors so they're static, so we can see just how just this part of the method is how long it's taking. Hey GHF, welcome. How you doing? Well. Right, okay, so they're static now, but I should still be able to hit them with bullets, and it should be still accurate where... Yeah, okay, good. So, and if I shoot below them and above them... Okay, so that stays the same, and the bullet... Okay, so that's good. So that collision's working exactly the same now. We will need to check those locations against... passable areas. That's a whole thing we'll do in a minute. So there will be some kind of check here, based on... I'm not sure how this would work actually, because the passable areas only have a character location, so we would probably need to store the character locations from here in some memory address that we can compare it later on. But we'll get to that in a minute. Let's get the other collision working. So, in order for this collision to work, what do we need to do? Well, we need to grab this location again. We have Y register in X, so we will need to restore that. Done. Why does this not restore it here? Why is that? Why is that Y register not being restored there. Is that restoring it, maybe? Just going to skip jumps to here. Because at this point, the Y is definitely not the right value. So maybe remove bullet as screen lock. There's something not quite right here. Remove bullet as screen lock. X-Reg contains the enemy index. That's the bullet. Then we remove it. Kill the enemy. Of the flag and clear from the screen. Okay, so actually that's one thing that's wrong then, because this should be we should be restoring the Y when we get to this collide here, the Y value is going to be wrong. So there is going to be a little bug here where this doesn't properly do the checks. So we need to is Y being stored up here? It's only being stored in the X register. So I think the first thing we need to do is set up a safe way of storing this Y value. So let's have a look. So the Y is correct here. It's correct here. And then it gets transferred to the X register. So at this point, our Y index that we need down here is in the X register. So this is fine because this hasn't run. But once this method runs, this becomes kind of wrong. So I think what we need to do is we need to store that somewhere so we can bring it back again and not do this instead. So I'm going to do load Y with the rest. Actually, I'm just going to keep it the same like that. Yeah, there we go. Rest X. There we go. So it's it seems a little bit inefficient, but this should just make the code a bit neater. Right. Okay. Okay, which then gets immediately transferred to here. But the reason why I'm doing this is because then I can just stick this in here and I don't have to worry about the done at all. Is there a better way of doing this? Well, we could jump from here into here, but it's going to be the same number of cycles even if we skip. I know it would be one cycle less, I guess. We did a load. Oh no, it wouldn't actually, because you'd still have to jump to it. Yeah, it's fine. Should be fine. Okay. Are you owning? It looks like you're owning the Wordle. This is good stuff. Right. Okay. So that means we can do the direction stuff here. If we move this to here, then we can still restore Y at the end. Okay, so no collide means we now grab this, and let's just put a little note here. Back to main loop. Restore Y from X. Okay, cool. Right. I hope you're following along. My brain's kind of doing weird patterns here. This doesn't look too bad in terms of performance. That's not that bad. I mean, it's only one enemy, but in terms of collision checking, that's not too bad. It's about to get a whole lot worse, though. But I did say I was going to do. I had more merch stuff to do. Just so many things I need to do. Never mind. I'm not going to commit to anything because I'll never do it. Okay, right. So the other thing is can we somehow avoid doing this check like this? I don't know what that's doing there between enemy sprite. Well, we're not doing any hardware collision checks there, so I'm going to get rid of that. There isn't. I don't think there is a way of doing this. Oh, this is checking against bullets, isn't it? So that's a different different routine completely. What we need to do, well, do we really need to do the comparison right here? I don't think we do we? So the values we're looking for is we're looking for a value between, let me just put the first bit of this in. So let's just assume that we're going up and to the right at the moment, right? So that would be grabbing this value, storing this somewhere, and then doing the same again for the one next to it, and storing that somewhere. But this number that we get from here, if it's a collision, it will be a value from 1 to CF, right? So in binary, that's going to look like the following, right? So the maximum value will be CF, not D0. So that will be that. But it can be any value up to that point. So if it's more than that value or it's 0, then we've not collided. So we could... we kind of have to, don't we? We actually have to do that stupid check on each one. No, we don't, because we do that check down here, right? Yeah, that check happens in there. So actually, this can be quite quick. All right. Yeah, this can be really quick. All right, so we only need to do 4. So which 4 do we need? Well, that's going to be based on this value here. So if we use, can we use the X register here? No, because we were using the X here. Can we use it here? Yes, because if we get rid of that and move that down to here, now we can just do load Y. And now we definitely don't need that, so that's good. Oops. Okay, yeah, this is going to be efficient. Right, okay. So what we can do load X with 0. And then we're going to load... Can we do load Y, X? I believe we can. We can. Awesome. I have to check because I forget every freaking time. So this will be... we'll call this... I don't know what to call it. Call it collision char table. So this is going to be a list of characters that make up a list of indexes that make up each specific direction. So we're going to always be treating 4 diagonals. They're going to be our directions. So instead of all 8 cardinal coordinates, we're just going to go with the northeast, northwest, southeast, southwest, top left, top right, bottom left, bottom right. That way, we're always going to have 4 characters. So we'll base that. We'll make that based on the delta values, and that should be able to give us value. It would be nice if the ID would mark comma X and comma Y. Oh yeah, I might look at the there might be a way to do that, because the syntax stuff just uses regex. I'm pretty sure with a bit of smart regex I could make that work, because it's easy enough to do with regex, and that's all the syntax file is. It's just some regex that says if it's this color, it this color. But I don't know if it only works for this or if it works for the whole thing. But yeah, that's not a bad idea, actually. Not a bad idea at all. Thank you very much for the follow, Abod Shashtari. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing well. A lookup table. Yeah, a lookup table will work perfectly, but unfortunately, I don't think it works for the syntax files for this. I do need to go in and put the illegal opcodes in as well. so that things like LAX work and stuff. But yeah, it would save a bit of time because there are a few things that I always look up, and it's always to do with the indexing. Like, can I use comma Y here? Can I use comma X here? It's always to do with those. Anyway, right. So I'm going to load Y chart table comma X. So there's going to be 4 for each direction. So there'll be a table of 16 values, and we're basically going to just pick one out of the table here. But what we'll do is we'll change this value. So, and another value that like the comparison value here, so that we grab the right set, or we can align it and change the bottom value of this or something. I don't know. I'll think about that. Think about which one to do in a minute. But let's just do this quickly. Actually, we could do. We can just have a temporary variable that we tick down. That's probably the way to do it. Yeah, we'll use it. We'll use a gtemp var here to do that, I think. Yeah, so I'll do that now, actually. So if I put 04, so that at gtemp1, so this is our little counter that we're going to tick down. So what we're going to do, we're going to read the value from the collision char table, grab that, and we're going to store that in. So we'll always do horizontal, vertical, horizontal. So this will be collide v1, comma. Oh no, it's not going to be comma x. It's just going to be collide v1, comma y. Is that right? Because we have 1 per character, don't we? So yeah. Hang on, checking the table up here. My God, my brain's kind of okay. So this becomes P1, P2. I actually think because I'm not drinking wine, my brain's not working quite right. Also, I'm tired as well. It might be something to do with it. Yeah, I probably do need that, don't I? I think what I'm going to do when I move the room around is I'm going to have something to the side of me, which will probably eventually have. It'll probably be a side table or something with one of my monitors on it, and then it's kind of there at the side of me. I mean, it will be mostly for stream stuff, but I might have an opcode thing on it as well. I need time to think about it, but yeah. I have got a mug half designed for all these things, but for the Mega 65. When I get back to Mega 65 code, and I will do that. Get that done. I really want to do that as well. I've got more and more ideas for the Pew Pew Doodle games. So where are we? Here we are. Yeah, there we go. So we've got Collide V1, Collide V2 on the, and that doesn't matter if it's top or bottom. That'll be worked out by the value that's set here. So we'll be loading this from somewhere. It'll probably be calculated just before here. So this is vertical. Also means we don't need to do that. Instead, we need to do this. Oh, hang on. Oh, we don't even need to do the X, do we? Because this is... We don't need to do that at all, because we're always going to grab 4. So it's not going to be a loop. All right, so grab the value, comma X, store the value, comma Y, increase X, and move to the next thing in the index. Yeah, okay, and then horizontal. Okay, just trying to be as efficient as possible here. It might be the same, and that would be increase X. Right, cool. And this becomes H1 and H2. So that's actually quite efficient. That's not bad at all. So the only thing we need to do now is decide which value this should be. So if we think about this as 4 directions, the screen's going dark really quickly now. If you block the light source behind you, you mean this thing? Let's have a look. I can turn it off at the wall here. No, is the answer. Not quite. It's still yeah, I'll turn it back on. I'm gonna move this all around on probably tomorrow evening. And when I do, I'm gonna look at the lighting. Actually, it looks a little bit better. Yeah, I mean, there is a little bit coming from it, but it's not that bad. Dot Cosmos, thank you for putting that on. Lately, you needed it. Yeah, you've been looking at a lot of illegal opcode stuff, haven't you? Illegal opcodes are really interesting. They are very, very interesting because there's some funky stuff that you can do with them, and a lot of, like, for instance, when you're doing really fast 8-way scrolling, illegal opcodes are a godsend because you can do some really, really nice really, really nice optimizations in tight loops with that. So LAX is your friend there. You'll use that's the one you'll probably use the most. I'm glad you like this tune. I spent a long time writing this tune, just listening to it over and over again, and I wasn't happy until I could listen to it for an hour without it grating on me. So it's always the plan. Right, okay. So what do we need to do? Right, we need to convert. This value here now needs to be 0, 4, 8, or 12, depending on which direction we're going. So direction wise, they are going to be because the thing is we also going to include the verticals and horizontals here as well. So I think what we'll do is we'll start in from this direction basically. We'll include the vertical like that, and then the next one will be that basically, and then the next one will be it will be that. Is that right? Yeah. And then the final one will be it's not that, it's more like that, but it doesn't quite work. I haven't got that. I've got the one character I don't have in order to do that. This is where Petsky is great. But yeah, so we'll treat each two segments as one block on here. So this one is going to be if the values are FF or F0. So this can be 0. Then this one's going to be if the value is 0, 1, or 0, 0, and 0, 1. So think about this. If we add these values together, what do we get? So let's just put them all in a row first. I think you can kind of see where I'm going with this. Trying to find a way to convert these into these numbers here. So this one would be same again, but it was like 0, 1, and then 0, 1, or 0, 0. So actually, it's slightly different. So it's not just adding them together, it's knowing which one is positive, because this would be the same on the last one, would be FF or 0 for the horizontal. But always. Oh no, this is always forward one, isn't it? Let me think about this. Backwards and backwards, or backwards and up. So this is the Y, yes. Then it's forwards and forward, so 1 and 1, or 1 and 0 there. So this is in XY pairs, right? These are what the deltas can be. And even then, we're not thinking of them like this. We're thinking of them as like positive and negative, because these deltas could be more than these values as well. We're really looking at whether the values are positive or negative. So actually, let's do it in positive negative pairs instead. So we have, in this case, because this could be 0, 1, this could be FE, right? So let's have a look at this one. So this would be negative or negative and positive. This is going to be positive or positive and positive. Positive So 1, 2, then that one is going to be positive and positive. Yeah, okay. Whereas this one is going to be so it's the X that changes here. The Y stays the same. And this one is going to be negative, positive, negative. I mean, the patterns are kind of unique, but only because of the comma. There doesn't seem to be an easy way to convert this. I guess what you do is you take this one here. Okay, so if this one is negative, you set it to 0. If it's positive, you set it to 8. Let's try this. Let's try this method first. Yeah, 8 and an 8, a 0 and an 8. Yeah, this isn't going to work, is it? Try. There's got to be a way to do this to convert combinations into straight lookups like that. What about if I assign each of these? Oh no, it's this is the one that throws us because of the zeros in the middle. So it's not moving horizontally, then we only need to be checking the top and the bottom. Can you OR them? No, because you're just going to end up with FF. So if you were to OR them, you would end up with negative, positive, positive, negative. But you would avoid the zeros. That's the thing. All right, yeah. Let's think about it from that point of view, right? So if you have, let's just say it's F's and well, this would be F or 0, right? So let's just treat them as 8 as nibbles for now. So this is positive would be 1 or 1 and 0. This would be 1 or 0 and 1. Oops. And this would be F or 0 and F. So if you were to OR these all together, you get F. You OR these all together, you get 1. OR these all together, you get 1. Regardless of which ones you do, you're always going to get F or 1. So how do we distinguish between these two? What about if we have a value? Well, one thing that's interesting is if it's negative, then it's negative, right? So there's no such thing as negative in one direction and positive. Oh no, there is. This should be negative in one direction, positive in the other. I think I've done something wrong here, haven't I? I need to draw this. That's what I need to draw this down. Let me do it. Let me do it so you can see what I'm thinking, right? So it's just get paint. It doesn't really matter, right? So what we're trying to do is we're trying to divide a grid, not a grid, a compass, basically. I can't see my cursor, so it's kind of hard to see where I'm drawing. It's very, very light. So we're trying to divide this into sections, right? So let's write numbers next to them all. So this is, oh, God's sake, I can't see. There we go. So this is, these are both the same. These should be both the same. These should be both the same. And these should be both the same. So how do we do that? How do we work out, based on an X and a Y delta, which category they fall into? So looking at that, if I again, think about this. Let me just make that a bit smaller and zoom out on that. Yeah, there we go. Beautiful programmer art that you can't see now because it's behind the thing. We just resize everything. Translate to angle. Yeah, I mean, possibly. I'm trying to think of a really sneaky. There's got to be a sneaky way of doing this. It seems like such a simple thing. Let's not think about them as F and 0. Let's think about them as bits that are either on and off. So let's think of them as -1 or 1 or 0, right? Because then we can represent it with 2 bits for each direction. So if we think about this is either going to be let's think about it as just a binary. So the first byte is whether it's negative or not. Second one is whether it's on or not, right? So it's a signed 2-bit number, basically, sort of. Yeah, signed 2-bit. Yeah, should be fine. Right. Okay. So that means if we want to be going backwards diagonally, then we're negative in both directions. So we're negative on this side, negative. Negative. Yeah. Wait, this is only showing. It would have to be 4, wouldn't it? It'd have to be 4 bytes like that. So it'd have to be negative. Oh, God damn it. Yeah, 2 bytes. Yeah, you're right. So it'd have to be that. Or the alternative is that it's straight up here. So that would be, in terms of X, this would be 0. And the Y would be backwards. So that is what the first one is. Is it just a matter of having a lookup table, a 16-bit lookup table? A 16-byte lookup? Yeah. It is, isn't it? It's a 16-byte lookup table. Yeah, it's a lookup table. That's what it is. Because then if it's forwards, then our X and our Y is going to be 0, 1, 0, 1, or it's going to be... I feel like this could be done in less, though, as well. I feel like this should be possible in 8, shouldn't it? But I think because of the nature of the double kind of zeros, yeah. So yeah, well, let's write down what they all are, and then we'll work out how to get that binary number from our values. It should be pretty easy to do, actually, because we can use roll and raw to push those bytes into the carry flag and then into somewhere else. Okay, cool. So, or the alternative is we go straight ahead, which means we have a positive X and nothing on the Y. So you can see these numbers are different. So we've got 0, 1, 1, 1, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 0. And then down is going to be, actually, no, that's not, that's 1, 1, like that. Yeah, it's 8 possibilities, but I'm just wondering if we can find a way to shrink this down. I think there's just going to be gaps because there's not going to be any cases of 1, 0. That's the difference here. So our possible values are 0, 0, 0, 1, or 1, 1. There's no 1, 0. But there might be, because of the way that the delta works. It could just end up being that we have plus or minus 0. So these are the same, basically. Yeah, exactly. So we probably need to put them in for the case of 1, 0, just in case, as a fallback. But yeah, we'd have 16 values. But yeah, this is the way to do it, isn't it? And we can use roll and raw to do it. Because what I want to do is I want to make this as efficient as possible, because it needs to happen every frame for every character, so for every sprite. So going down, that would be sort of forward and forward, so the 0, 1, 0, 1 case, and then the 0, 0, 0, 1 case. And then the last one would be backwards 1, down 1, and then backwards 1, down at 0. So are they all unique? 1100. Yes, they are, aren't they? So this gives us a unique set, and all we need to do is anytime there's a 00, we need to put a 10 in there as well. So let's write these. Okay, so I'm going to write a little description of what we've got here. And describes all 8 compass cardinal directions. Starting at northwest, it's represented by a 4 by 2 4-bit values with bits 2 to 3 equals x bit bit 0 to 1 equals y, with each 2-bit pair being signed, e.g. Typo in directions. Oh yeah. The fine pattern describes all 8 cardinal directions. Each pair of directions going clockwise starting at northwest is represented. Each pair of directions going clockwise starting at northwest plus north is represented by 2 4-bit values. So then down here, what we'll do is we'll say, okay, northwest, north, northeast, east. Is that right? Yeah, east, and then southeast, south, southwest, west. So now we can try to think about the logic for this. So to grab direction from the deltas, we can use bit 7 and roll to the left. Push the sign. Sign into the carry. Right. So that gives us the sign. So that gives us that bit. But how do we get this bit? To get this bit, we need to know if the value is 0 or not. Bit brightness. It's not enough to just roll that bit. That would give, well, that would tell us if it's negative or not, and that might be not. Let's think about it this way. If it is negative, can we reduce it, right? So no, we can't, can we? Because it makes some of these the same. So let's just use this line here as a test. So if we were to just push that bit, what would we get? We'd get 1 1, 0, 1. And we get 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, which are different. They are completely different, right? Yeah, they're different, which means we only have 4 lookups. Are there any of them unique? No. Hey, we're getting there. I like this. This is a nice bit of logical thinking. I like this. So let's change this again then. So this becomes, is it represented by two 2-bit values, with bit 2 to 3 being with bit, what would it be? Bits. So this is 2 to 3. So this would be bit 1 equaling x delta x sign. And bit 0 equaling delta y sign, with each which means we don't need to say that. Okay, cool. Are these unique as well? No, they're not, are they? Because that combines. Oh, wait, though. Look what happens if we bring these together, right? Oh, no, it doesn't work because these. Damn it. I was thinking that might overflow. All right, so I really like this. This is a fun little logical puzzle. I hope everybody else is having as much fun looking at this as I am. I think you guys are just busy gambling and shit, aren't you? Fine by me. What about if we were to add these together now? Do these give different results? They do. But adding them together is an extra cycle, whereas we can sacrifice a few bytes. Okay, so yeah, so now we've converted this to this. Because we've paired them together, even though south and east are represented by the same values, in that south has positive x and y, the only thing that we need to be sure of here is that we never use the negative 0 value. That's the only thing we need to be sure of here, but that should be pretty easy to maintain with the delta values anyway. So, but that makes each of these numbers unique, right? So let's get rid of that example because that example no longer matters. So so let's make sure that makes sense. So going back to starting northwest was north is represented by two 2-bit values, with bit 1 equaling the sign of delta x, yes, and bit 0 equaling the sign of delta y. Together they form 4 unique 4-bit values representing 4 adjacent pairs, cardinal directions. So in the case of 0 being negative, what do we get? Let's see if we need to fix that as well. So let's take a look at this one. So anytime we see a 0, we need to look and see if it could be, what would happen if we made it negative in the second byte here, in the first bit here. So if we made that negative, it would be 1 1 1 1. This one would be 0, 1, 1, 0. Wait, no, that's not. That's a 1, isn't it? So I can't possibly. So it'd still be 0, 1. That would be 1, 0. This would be 1, 0, 1, 0. Or 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 1. Yeah, okay. No, wait, that's not right, is it? Because this is X and this is Y, isn't it? So yeah, it's not that at all. It is any time there's a 0, it could be a 1. Yeah, okay. No, we have to do that. Okay, cool. We just like to each other. Thanks, Beck. Okay, cool. That will work, I think. So so to grab a direction with the help, use bit 7 and roll, and we just need to do that for. No, I still think this is not going to work because I'm thinking about this completely wrong, aren't I? I'm pairing these things together to create unique numbers that represent the pairs, but I still can't get that from the delta alone. Because the delta's only going to give me 2 bits is the problem. So if I get 1 1, I know it's northwest. If I get 0 1, it's either north or northeast. If I get 0 0, it's one of these 3. So what if? Yeah, it's not going to work, is it? Fuck. Oh, it was onto something then. So let's go back to the original design. Which was taking the. I thought it was being really smart there. We do need that value there. Get all these backs as well. Yeah, we have to keep that. Okay. Right. Okay. So we do need to work out how to get that value. So we need to, so we can get the sign quite easy by rolling that bit. But how do we get this value here? This final bit here. Because the value, the delta for the rest is either going to be a value or well, it's either going to be not. It's either going to be 0 or not, right? So. So I'm going to take a quick break. I'm going to take 5 minutes and look at table for the remaining 7 bits. No, I think that's probably overkill. All we need to know is if it's 0 or not. And I almost feel like the 0 is no, because this is the problem I was in before. I start thinking about them as 0 isn't anything. 0 is always positive. Then that's where we get into problems. Because if we think about it as this is always 1, then yeah, we've got issues here. But then it doesn't work. Having we know that we need 8 lookups, right? We know that for sure. But what we need to do is we need to be able to turn a value like we need to be able to turn this into one of these coordinates. And how do you do that? How do you turn those deltas into coordinates? Well, I mean, it's easy for us to see it, like, visually we can see, okay, so we're going backwards in the X and we're going forwards in the Y. So it's got to be this one. We're going southwest. So that's kind of easy to work out. That's this one here. But how do we get to that one? Because if this is something like this, right, we're still going down, but with the top byte of this is kind of irrelevant because it's a 0, so it doesn't give us that. It doesn't look like we're going down, but we are, because this is the entire value is non-zero. I'm gonna leave that for a minute. Have a think about it while I have a think about it as well. I'm gonna go and give the cat some treats to try and calm them down a little bit. I knew that. I told you this would happen. I told you this would happen, and now I'm stuck on this problem, and I know there's a solution, and it's just bugging me what it is. I cannot for the life of me figure it out. No, no. I feel like this should be fast. There should be some kind of very simple logical thing I can do with those two values to create one of these kind of situations. Maybe this is completely wrong, but these are 4 unique sets of values. So if we could generate these values from these, that would be great. The problem is you have to have this second bit. Right? It's no good just knowing it's negative. Because if you start saying, oh, well, if we ignore that bit, then you start getting pairs that are the same, which is the problem I had just a minute ago, where I went down that route and ended up with east, southeast, and south all having the same value. So I can never know which quadrant to pick. All right. Is dx and dy delta values? Yes. So dx and dy are the delta values, and we need to be able to take those values and pick one of 8 directions, based on positive, negative. So if you imagine pairs of positive and negative x and y, you've got eight directions. Well, actually, if you think of them as I mean, ideally, it's only 4 directions we want, right? So what the 4 directions we want are, and I'll do these in XY pairs. So in XY pairs, they are for 0, negative, negative, for 1, positive, negative, for 2, positive, positive, and for 3, negative, positive. So that's what we're looking to create, is these coordinates. So this would be northwest, northeast, southeast, and southwest. But the problem is when one of these is 0, it kind of breaks things. If it's 0, you always assume it's positive, right? So if one of these is 0, you assume it's positive. So that means that this one here, northeast, which is positive and negative on the y, would be the same for a few values. Yeah, it's the negative 0, positive 0 that's screwing things up here. All right, I'm going to leave it for a minute. I'm going to have a think about it and come back to it. So I'll be back in a few minutes, guys. I shall leave you with the races. Press the right button. I'll be right back. I'm back. And in a moment of toilet clarity, I think I know the solution. I think we're just overthinking it. So if we do to use negative, negative, positive, let's just write these on here, right? So this would be positive and anything, right? So I'll put a 0 for anything. This would be positive, positive. God, man, I cannot draw it here at all. Actually, let's do it on these coordinates up here. It's easier, right? So northwest is going to be negative, negative. North is going to be negative. 0 and negative. Northeast is going to be positive, negative. East is going to be positive and anything. Southeast is going to be positive, positive. South is going to be anything, positive. Southwest is going to be negative, positive, and this is going to be negative anything. Right, so if we take those and think about what else could be in these locations. So if zeros are always positive, we get this. No, see, this is the problem. We end up with these three all in the same location. The missing bit here is this one. South needs to be negative. Old school. OSK, have you got a program that checks all the possible answers? Fuck's sake. Oh, don't cheat. That's no fun. God damn it. Where's the fun in that? That's no fun. That's no fun. So the question is here, do we accept the possibility? Well, what is this actually going to create? This is just going to create a situation where east, southeast, and south are all going to share the same collision. Actually, it doesn't matter, because in terms of collision, it doesn't matter. Because if you're only going vertically, you don't care about the horizontals, right? So to put the zeros back, we don't care about these values. In which case, if we don't care about them, will we always still get the same? Will we, as long as the value here is in the right sector, so it's not going to match. Yeah, even if it was northeast, it wouldn't matter. We'd still be checking east because that stays the same on either side. That value stays the same on either side. This value stays the same on either side. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Okay. So what we'll do is we'll say to grab a direction from the deltas, we can use bit 7 and roll to push the sign of both deltas into the carry to create a 4-bit number. In the case of negative 0, the yeah, so that's right. That's all we need to do. So all of this is completely irrelevant. We don't need any of that. All we really need to do is roll these bits. So we will treat we'll do X, Y, and that will be our values. So after all of that, we just need to do this, and it will make loads of sense because it was just going to be a few lines. The admin screen on my Twitch bot shows the available words left after peeps have been guessing, so it's running the bot as coded. It is cheating. That is cheating. It's like trying to play Countdown with a dictionary in front of you. Well, no, it's worse than a dictionary. It's playing Countdown with an anagram solver. Can I ban him? No, I mean if he wants to do that, fine. But what I will start doing is I will start monitoring how easily you get them, and if you start getting them easier, I'll just knock another row off. It's already gone down from 6 rows to 5. I can always make it go down to four rows. But I think it's fine. I mean, I think it's difficult enough that even if you know the possible solutions, it's still hard. I mean, the thing is if you play the game perfectly, like you don't reuse any letters and stuff, then it's already difficult to do in 5 anyway. You're kind of doing what the bot's doing. It's just the bot is giving you words that you might not have thought of, so you might jump to certain things. But yeah, it's use a random language. I think it's probably not that much of a problem. I do like it. I do like your inventiveness, though, old school coder. It's a good idea, but it does take some of the kind of the skill out of it a little bit, because you don't have to think of the words, but you yeah, you still have to. I think even if you're playing it well, no, don't be sorry. I think it's kind of good if you think about it, right? If you play Wordle properly, right, and you get your first word, so then you start to know what possible words could be in that thing. So yeah, you're just finding the quickest way to get to that solution. But a proper word, a solid Wordle player who plays in hard mode would be doing the same thing anyway. So you're just turning hard mode into easy mode. That's what you're doing. I don't mind. It's fine. Did you get that one, or did you lose on that one? Oh, you got it. It was sorry, and he said sorry. I don't mind. It's fun. You're not going to be able to cheat on. I need to plug my phone in, or it's going to go off. You're not going to be able to. Oh shit! I don't have. Oh, bear with me a sec, guys. Just I'll be right back in a sec. I need to go and get my charger. Back. It's fine because Wordle's going to be one of many games, right? So Wordle's the first game that I've put in there, but I have got a tic tac toe game that I did for the example for the little the framework kind of thing. So there'll be that as well, and I think other people are making. I think Warlock said he was looking at making a quiz game as well. So there'll be loads of extra games that'll be a lot harder to cheat at. And I honestly don't think it's cheating. I think if you were playing Wordle properly, you'd know that the only words that could possibly be there are blah blah blah. It's just you may only think of 3 of the 4 possible words. You might forget that there's a fourth word that could go in there. Yeah, which is why there's other games as well. Yeah, Noughts and Crosses. So the tic tac toe game. So I'm using what's called a min max solution for playing perfectly, and the computer is really hard to beat in that case. In fact, I don't think if it goes first, I don't think you can beat it. But I've also programmed it to make every turn it's got a 10% chance of making a mistake, and it plays until one of you wins. So if you don't win, you just go again until one of you wins. But I don't know if that's how I would set it up, or if a tie just resets. I can't remember if it's in. But yeah, the tic tac toe is going to be tricky to do as well. And then there's pairs as well. So pairs is going to be based on a little bit of luck as well. So if there's 16 cards, I need to play it a few times to work out kind of because I want the games to be about roughly 50% win, 50% lose. Anyway. So don't worry about it. I think it's kind of fun that you're doing that. WOPR voice when that game. What's that Whopper voice? I don't know what that is. Am I missing something? Yeah, Connect Forward work as well. Make one for my stream, OSK. Make one for yourself, but then duplicate it in the. Don't panic. What the fuck? Oh, war games. All right. Yeah, feel free to make a game for this stream as well. I did think Connect Four would be a good one, and Connect Four pairs Tic Tac Toe. There was another one as well I was thinking of. Cat's trying to get in the room now, and all tanks would be good. Yeah, I mean, there's opportunities for all sorts. I say the code is in. If you look in Discord, there is a channel I've opened up in Discord. I'll quickly show you. So there is this Stream Games channel here, and there's a little framework in here, and that framework will give you the code for the games. So there's this empty game. So this is a no React version. So this isn't using React. This is about as simple as I can make it. And all you have to do is implement these functions. So you need a title, which just returns the name of the title, the name of the game. Instructions, which returns the instructions. A start game, an update timer, so something that just displays a time on the screen, your time remaining. Time up when a player runs out of time. Time up game over when the game runs out of time. So if you need to reset the game or you want to display a game over message. And then a receive command. So this is just receives the. So in the case of Wordle, it just receives the word. The word will be to lowercase in CMD. So CMD would contain the word sorry, for instance. And then a stop, which just clears your game up. You can add whatever the hell you want into these. It really doesn't matter. In this case, it's just a very simple game. That you get a few values. You get prize, which is passing, which tells you which prize it's going to be. And then these two values you update yourself. So whenever you call, there's two methods you have to call. Next player, which will just get the next player, so you can see when the game starts. It sets the player to be whatever the next player is, and that just returns the player name to you, and that will be the player who has 60 seconds, and then the timer will return the amount of time they have left in seconds. Very, very simple. You could do whatever the hell you want to do in this. And this will drop directly into my stream as well. There's a little overlay harness that you can use to test the game to see it running, just so you know that it's working. And if it works in that harness, it will work in the game. But feel free to make whatever you want. You just need a bit of basic JavaScript knowledge, and you can make whatever the hell you want and drop it into the stream. Okay, so let's grab these values. We're a bit behind tonight, so we're going to grab delta. Okay, we need to grab our y back. So we're going to grab y is in the X register at this point. We haven't bashed it yet. We bash it here, but we haven't bashed it yet, so we can grab it at this point. Oh no, we can't, because we've possibly been here and done this, because it's stored here in RESTX. Okay, which is here. Oh, actually, we can do. We can load X with RESTX. We can just grab it directly from that location, because it's already stored here, so we can grab it. Otherwise it's already there. So we should probably do this right at the beginning, up here. Yeah, we'll just do store Y, RESTX there. And we don't need that either. That makes that more efficient. That's this one here. That's cool. Because that's the same value there. Okay. This should be rest Y2, really, because it's going to be 2. Thank you very much for the sub to TLMR GVF. Thank you very much indeed. Appreciate it. You could bring the BG images back in the game. Yeah, it could actually. That runs all the time. Well, I was thinking of doing that on the League, so having either as the background on the League or just another panel on the League. I think a background to the League would probably be good. That's probably what I'm going to do with the backgrounds, I think. So you would get both leagues would display on the background with some kind of text shadowing or something, so they stand out. And then at the moment when it goes Quiz League, AMK League, Quiz League, AMK League. It would go Quiz League, AMK League, image details, Quiz League, AMK League, image details, and repeat like that. Downloaded. Oh, you downloaded the framework. Yeah, just give it a try, OSK, because I'd really like to see some of your games as well in there. It'd be cool. And if you want me to share it with you, what the way I mean, your bot's probably going to be a bit different to mine, so it might not work. But you might be able to reverse engineer the harness a little bit and make it work on yours as well. So when you would guess one window pops up for yeah, I'll figure out a way of doing it. Okay, so we're gonna restore this. We're gonna call this ret y2 because there's no need for it to be anything else. Really doesn't need to be stored in the X register at all, because we override that straight away here anyway. So in the loop, yeah, we override that straight away. So this would be rest y2. That's rest y. This is rest y2. All right. And this is the behaviors we need to put back eventually, but we'll put them back when we're done. I mean, that could be here as well. It doesn't need to even be here. Undone. I'm just trying to work out this method. Yeah, this is actually we're making this way more efficient as we go along. So this is kind of been good time well spent. It might have been a bit slow, but I still think it's time well spent. We do need to reload that, so we'll just load it like that. We call this rest y rather than rest y2. Store that needs to be there just in case this breaks things. This seems a little counterintuitive, but you can get to this. Oh no, you can't get it to it any other way. That is the only way you get to it. So you come through here, do all of this. This stores it all. You go to no collide. No collide does all this crap. Oh, and then it restores y when it's done. Yeah, okay. So that is correct. Yeah, okay, that is correct. Can I move that though? Maybe I don't. Oh no, because I need it for these as well. So it has to be loaded in. Should it just be that? Just y. So as soon as we've done all this, we store the y. So we come down here and store the y. That goes in here, which is right at the end of the loop before this. When we call the behaviors, we need to make sure we have that value. So we need to load that value. So that's fine, which means we don't need any of this. This is going to change the y. So we definitely need to do that after it. This is going to change the y. So we need to do it after it as well. Remove bullet at screen lock. That needs... Let's remove bullet at screen lock. Xreg contains the enemy index. Y doesn't necessarily... Oh yeah, the Y is there. So yeah, that's fine as well. Because that's second for... Yeah, this is all good. We've actually made it more efficient. It's kind of good. So these are the values it needs to be, which means, and if we get a value from 0, 1, so we don't even need a lookup table. We can do shifting to do this value as well. So we're going to load data.delta x. Do we need x first? Yes, we do. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to put a value here. We're going to call it cardinal, I guess. We need to store 0 there to begin with. So let's start by doing that here. So let's do 0. Okay, so we then we take this value and we shift it to the left, and then we roll cardinal to the left as well. So now cardinal is either 0 or 1, and then now cardinal is either 0 or 0, 1, 2, or 3. And now if it's 3, we would just 0, 1, 2, or 3. So it's to 2 bits. So we just need to shift the whole thing to the left twice. And now we've got this value here. And then we just need this chart table. Let's actually just put this at the end of this function, so it doesn't really need to be anywhere else. It can stay in here, it's fine. So the collision chart table will be based on the cardinal. Why do we load y before calling the subroutine? Because if we don't load y and we've done this here, you mean this one here? This is actually bashed y. The behaviors need the y, so the behaviors need to know which enemy they belong to, which is why it's loaded in again there. I may do code break first over the code for that. It should be. I think the most difficult thing people are going to have is getting it to fit into that little window. But that's why the wrapper's there, so you can see how it looks. My tip would be try and avoid colorblind problematic colors. Try and keep your fonts big and bold if possible. And the only thing I would say is make sure the player knows whose turn it is and how much time they've got left. It's down to you to display that time. And any errors that they may do as well. Make sure that the errors are obvious that they get. But you can see from the tic-tac-toe example how it's done in React as well if you want to use React. But React is a little bit odd because it's a non-transpiled version of React, so there's no JSX. It's got some weird string kind of stuff. So there's a really good site actually for checking palette colors. And you can like put a load of palette colors that you're using, and then you can see how they look in different colorblind modes. It's helped me kind of pick. Okay, thanks. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, so it's because the lost where I am now. It's because the enemy behaviors need to know what the Y register is the enemy index. X we can use, but the Y needs to be restored. So it looks a bit weird that we're loading it and then loading it again straight after, but it's because we need to grab it, and these routines here break them basically. Okay, so here, so now we have, so what are these representing? So 0 would be south east. 4 would be so it's 0, 0, 0, 1. So this would be forwards and back up, forwards and up. So this would be northeast. So we're going this way around, aren't we? So it'd be northwest. No, because 8 would be 0, 1, 1, 0. So this would be backwards and down. So this would be southwest. This would be northwest. Right. So these are our positions. Right. So based on those, we can work out what the collision chart table is. So this took quite a long time, but hopefully this will work now. So yeah, no, it doesn't care that it's capitals. It will make it all lowercase anyway. Oh, you should have got that then. Or maybe you needed the full name. I don't know. Yeah, sometimes it does that. So I did try and go through manually, but when you're going through like 1,500 games, trying to create additional allowed versions of the title, it was kind of difficult to catch every single one. So sometimes it's a good idea to type the full name in anyway. Sucks, I know, but I mean, what are you going to do? Okay, so we need to know in terms of if we're going southeast, what is our thing? So we do vertical first, then we do horizontal. So vertical is let's draw the little table down here. So we've got 0, 1, 2, 3, then 40. Let's do it in hex actually. So 28, 29, 2A, 2B. Then this is 50, 51, 52, 53, and then finally 78, 79, 7A, 7B. So we're not interested in these middle ones. We're just interested in these ones on the outside, these twos on the outside. So southeast is vertical 797A, and east is 2B53, so horizontal. Because this is the lookup table. So this is with the screen address that we get, and these are where we need to look up to find the characters for those. So northeast would be north, so 0, 1, 0, 2, with east being the same. And then southwest and northwest. So let's copy this. South is going to be the same, north is going to be the same, and we just need to put west in, which is 2850. Not that one, sorry, 28, 28. So all that just to create this, which is now going to allow us to do proper lookups. Can't you write them in binary down? Can you write them? What, these numbers? So what we're doing is we're picking a row in this table based on this cardinal direction, 0, 4, 8, 12. And then these are just the lookups. I don't think they need to be binary. They probably could be binary. But the thing is, we don't need them as binary. We want them as, well, I mean, they could be, but would it make any, no, it wouldn't make it easier. It wouldn't make it easier, I don't think. Okay, so in that case, we now have V1, V2, H1, H2. So now we can go back down to our other thing. It's taken a long time, but we're there now. So we're looking at a vertical bound. So if we're doing our vertical bounds and we're moving positively, we're looking at V1, V2. The thing is, it really doesn't matter which direction we're moving in now. So actually, we simplify this because it doesn't matter which way we're going. Because if it's positive and negative, it doesn't matter. It's still V1 and V2. V2. So this would just be bounce. And we don't need any of this. So this becomes done here. So actually it simplifies it as well. So actually it's kind of it is actually making it more efficient, weirdly. This means we also don't need that. Oh, no, we do. Oh, no, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if we're checking collision on the left and right, because oh no, it does matter if we're checking collision on the left and right. We need these values to be non-zero. So this is the check we need to do here. Make sure that delta y is non-zero. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to OR these two values together. So we're going to take that value, we're going to OR it with. So we're going to make sure that the value is non-zero, because if the value is non-zero, v1, yeah, I got that one. If I use the empty game no react, that's okay. Yeah, that's absolutely fine. So empty game no react is the smallest possible thing I can get that will run in the wrapper. It doesn't do anything. There's no turns. You just run out of time and it becomes the next player turn. If you type any command in, it's invalid, so it just skips to the next player. But it's enough for you to see the flow, if you like. If you want to see a full flow, load up the tic-tac-toe game that's in there. It's a little bit more complicated, the code, but it will give you an idea how the flow works. Okay, so we need to all these two together. If it's equal to 0, then we jump to done. Otherwise, we do this and bounce, and then X bounce is the same thing. So I'm going to get rid of pretty much all of this and just redo that section by copy pasting this one, which I'd done before, but I want to make sure it's neat now. So don't need that done. Need to change this to X, and this becomes H2 and H1. This is carry clear. We jump to bounce. Bounce, yeah. Change that to done. Yeah, so that's good. Just need to make the same change up there in a second. Just making sure this is all right. X, 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 X. So now we'll have the opposite problem, that the things won't quite reach the walls. They'll bounce a little bit before they reach the walls, but it should actually look less janky, I think. So same thing here. This needs to be branch carry set done. But that's actually saved us a few cycles and quite a few bytes as well. So, whew. I have no idea if that built or not. No. Clyde V1, Clyde V2, Clyde H1, Clyde H2. I thought I'd put them in. Clyde H1, Clyde H2, Clyde V1, Clyde. Where? They're in there. H1, H2, V1, V2. 274. All right, let's have a look. 274. Have I missed something here? 274. Oh, it needs to be data. And this is no longer. We need to grab. Shit. Okay, that's going to be a problem. So we kind of need to do this every time, which is going to get a bit slow. So I'm going to use a temporary variable here for this. So I'm going to get rid of this. Instead, up here, we're using gtemp. No, we're not using gtemp. All right, so because we do need to grab that every time we do this. Otherwise, this value is not going to be right, because the Y is going to be related to the screen location instead. So this needs to always do this. It's going to be a bit slow, but load rest Y is only 3 cycles. So we're adding 3, 6, 9, 12 cycles. Oh, that's not too bad. I will save that elsewhere. So not there, sorry. There. Turn the behaviors back on. Let's have a look what happens. Oh, I forgot the data's in there. So going to adopt. Yeah. Let's pause. 497. H2. Where? Where? I don't know what you're talking about. Down here, you mean? V1, V2, H1, H2. 300-ish. Hang on, let me just fix this bug. 497. It should just be bounced. There we go. 300-ish. Oh, we're using gtemp in here though, so we can't use gtemp1 in here. So that would have been a conflict there because we're storing. Yeah, so that needs to be gtemp2. All right, let me just fix that. So that would have been a conflict. I'm not seeing that problem at all. We've got H2 here, 294. Yeah, that's correct. We've got 2 horizontal and 2 vertical, V1, V2, H1 and H2. Also means, do we need to do that there as we jump to done for any reason? I get to this point, done. Where's the skip? Where's the done? Probably don't need to do that there anymore because we're restoring it at this point. So yeah, we don't need that one there either, right? It's quite a bit of a refactor there, but I think this should give us a nicer thing. I'm sure it's going to break straight away, but if it works, it should be better. No, there we go. It's actually working quite well. So the only thing we need to make sure is that we can still hit them. Oh, no, see, there we go. We've got a problem. So if we hit them, we run into a problem. And that's because we are hitting this thing here. Remove bullet screen at lock. And that is expecting... So it's doing this, remove bullet screen at lock. Okay, so that's going down to here. X-Reg contains the enemy index, which it doesn't at the moment. Okay, so does it need to be X? Yes, it does, because we've got that there. Okay, so that's easy enough done. That's just a case of restore the index. Rest Y is so actually let's change rest Y to let's call it something else. And let's put it in capitals so we know it's no, actually, because that implies that it's let's call it ZP enemy index. There we go. So anytime we see rest Y, we'll do that, and then we're not just assuming it's always in the Y register, which it's not. It's fine. It's fine. Whew. Seems very reminiscent of Earthskey streaming and shooting. Oh, is he doing? He was doing. Are you still doing Myriad, John? I think you are, aren't you? Oh, notice when I hit the enemy, it changed directions. Pretty sure that changed directions when I hit. Yeah, it does. Awesome, automatically. That's unintended behavior, but it kind of works. All right, I just want to see what I'm going to turn the behaviors off again for a second. So I just want to see what the cycle time is for that. But they changed directions. That's freaking awesome. Unintentional, but it kind of behaves the same. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure the behavior is not exactly the same, but it might be close enough. So then the only other thing we need to do is player to enemy collision. Hero Dev, welcome back. Let's let them get in, get through the adverts. I can't see. Let me turn more borders on. Welcome along, Hero Dev. Thank you for the raid. Welcome everybody that's come along with Hero Dev. Hope you're all doing well. Welcome once again to my stream. Good to see you all again. We've just done a huge, well, I would say it's not really huge, but we've done a bit of a refactor on something. And probably took way longer than I should have done to do it. But I think it's been worth it. So this is the full collision now. So it is using quite a bit more raster time. So if I just pause it, you can see it is using a bit more raster time now. It was probably about half of that before. So we're probably using twice as much raster time now. But the advantage is now we've got collision based on movement as well. But we are taking twice as many samples as well, collision samples. So it is kind of right in a way. I mean, it's... and that's not bad. That's not bad for a collision routine. I'm sure we can reduce that a little bit more. So yeah, welcome along everyone that's come along with Hero Dev. Hope you're all doing well on this beautiful Thursday evening. I'm Shine 50k, do a bit of C64 development, do a bit of Game Boy as well. Tonight we're on C64, we're doing Cecconoid, porting a game. It was originally done on the PC, it's available on Steam. It's actually in the Ukraine bundle if it's still available. I don't think it is, but if it is, you can find it in there. And then it was ported to Android as well. I think it's on iPhone. I'm not sure on that one. You have to quote me on that. Is on Switch as well, so you can get it on Switch, which is the one I'm kind of looking at. So as my reference, just because there's more of that kind of video online. I think there's almost no difference between them. I think it's really just some kind of control. Cosmetic overlay sort of stuff, so some graphics, some graphical assets pointing to the different controllers, but generally I think the games are exactly the same. We don't have that luxury, unfortunately. We do not have the power of a Nintendo Switch or a PC. We have the 1 megahertz CPU of the C64, so we're kind of stuck with some compromises here and there, and we're just trying to make this as performant as possible. Nikoma, that's a good point. Do we need to check every frame? We probably don't. We definitely need to do the behavior update, but do we need to actually do collision update every frame? Now, I think we could probably get by half in the collision updates. I don't want to stagger them out completely, because if we stagger them out completely, we get into a problem, which is if you've got one enemy on the screen, it's going to update 3 times quicker than if you've got 3 enemies on the screen. So I don't want it to be related to the number of enemies that are on the screen. In other words, just updating one at a time and then looping again. But what I'm thinking is if we take... so I'm going to give Nicomo 5 points for that, because it's a really good suggestion. So we earn points on this channel. There is no alert for it, unfortunately, but there is a little league table just below me. There's 2 league tables, one for the quiz that pops up every 25 minutes, and this grey one that you can see now is the AMK points, named after our infamous Andy Magic Knight. And we give points out for basically helping out, coming up with optimizations, spotting mistakes in the code. And at the end of the year, I give a little prize away to the leader on each of these league boards. Last year it was Raspberry Pi, Retro Pi kind of cube thing. So it came in like a little 3D printed Mario cube with a Raspberry Pi 4 in it, and an SD card full of... he's definitely infinite. He's been here since the bloody beginning, so can't get rid of him. Keep trying. I made him a mod to hope he'd get sick of it and think it was more of a job, but he's stuck around. We love Andy. We love to abuse him. So if you're feeling down, if those who have come along, if you are feeling down, just give Andy a poke, call him names, and he'll be very happy. And we'll all have a good chuckle. ST sucks. Yeah, he's a big Atari ST fan, so anything that just slags off the Atari ST, absolutely perfect. And Andy was very lucky last year because he won the AMK point quiz. This is why the points were named after him, because he was the one earning them all at first, and then I made it an actual thing. They were imaginary points at first, and he was earning these imaginary points, and I decided to make it an actual thing to get some collaboration on the stream. Actually worked quite well, and people have been really chipping in and helping out. And then he also... well, he didn't win. Eldritch won the PlayStation 5. So we did a PlayStation 5 giveaway at Christmas last year, where we gave away a full disc version of the PS5 at Christmas, brand new, shipped and everything. Didn't have to pay anything to it. We did a marbles on stream, and Eldritch won that. but he was very kind and he gifted it to Andy to save the costs of customs charges, because the Eldritch isn't in the UK, so it was very kind of him. So yeah, he did really well out of it. Yeah. Okay, right. So what I want to do, I'm just going to create a little flag at the top here, very very simple flag, and I'm going to call it update flag. And we're going to use this flag it's just going to toggle between 0 and 1 on an update. So whenever we update, we're just going to do this, which is just going to it's just data update flag. And that's just going to flip the value. Oh no, we need to load it, don't we? No, I'll just do that. What am I thinking? I need to EOR it with this value and put it back. And what this is going to do is it's just going to toggle this flag between 0 and 1. The other way we could do it as well, of course, is we could just increment it like that, which I think is what I'm going to do. I think that's probably better than the update is. Actually, I mean, in terms of, yeah, it's 2 cycles quicker to do it this way. Maybe make the toggle configurable. Tricky. The reason why I'm doing. I'll show you what I mean. I'll show you what I'm going to do. To this. This is why it's going to work better for it not to be toggleable. So we're just going to take it. We're just going to take a value that's either 0 or 1, and we're just going to transfer that into the Y register. So now our counter starts either the 0 or 1 enemy. We're, instead of comparing if we're on the next round, we're going to compare if we're equal to or more than. We're going to compare if we're less than that value, because this could go over in this case. And then the other thing we need to do is increase Y twice at the end. So now we're going to count up 2 at a time, and that should half it basically. Oh, to stagger, configurable stagger. I don't think it'll be necessary, to be honest. I don't think there's enough of a performance hit. So the only reason particles and sprite multiplexing is configurable is because they're really, really heavy. They really do use a lot of processing power. So by making them configurable, you can have a massive effect on the raster. So hopefully now. Oh, I've not. Yeah, but you can see now the update is half the speed. So we're kind of back to where we were before now. The only problem we've got here is we're actually going to skip bullets, potentially. Because the bullet checks are not going to happen. So I think what we need to do is we need to just split this a little bit. Or we just need to do... I know how we do this. All right, so we're not going to do this. We're going to go through every enemy, but what we're going to do is when we come to this collision, not that collision, this collision here. So collision with bullets, we want to be super accurate. Don't know how many enemies we'll have. On the screens that have tons and tons of enemies, a lot of them will be characters anyway. So the ones with tons of enemies, they tend to be like Robotron style screens. So we'll kind of reuse some of that code. So what we'll do is we'll do a check here. We'll grab we've got the Y already in, so we need to keep the Y there. So we'll transfer Y to the accumulator here. So now we have the index in here, and if we AND it with this value that's in data update flag, if it's 0, hang on, if that's... No, it needs to be... Okay, so if this is 0 in here, so this, if we did this, this is now going to be 0 or 1. And what we want to do is we want to, if the bits match,
So we can do it with exclusive OR actually. So if we do this EOR with this, and then AND it with 1 again, now we have a value which is going to be either 1 or 0 depending on if they match. So if these two values match, it will stay as a 0. If they're different, it will become a 1. Yeah, that's right. Okay, that will work. Okay. So then we can say, okay, if equal, then skip all of this crap. So we jump to done. Only do this update on alternate frames per enemy. Right, so then that would come to here. Core behaviors needs the value to be in Y, which it would already be in Y if we skipped here. If we went through, it's already in Y again here, so that's fine. Okay, cool. So let's try that. Are you getting it again? Oh god, I'm gonna have to reduce it, Anna. No, you didn't. You didn't that time. You didn't get a chance. This is what I mean. I think it's easy to think that it's having a massive impact, but I don't think it is having a massive impact, because I think if you're thinking about it logically, then you're going to come to the same conclusions as the bot. It's just going to take you a bit longer, and you may miss a word here and there. But if you've only got one option for a space, you're going to know what that option is, right? You're just going to figure it out eventually. The trick is not making a mistake. That's the problem. You're making a mistake when you use letters that you've already used. But also, what the bot will help do is to let you know what characters to check. So if after the first turn you've reduced it down to 5 different words, then you need to find a word that contains as many letters shared from those 5 words as possible on your next go, and then that will reduce it even more. So it's just reducing the answer set basically each time. But that's how I think that's how people play the game anyway. So yeah, there we go. That's a bit better. Cool. I'm happy with that. And let's turn the behaviors on. Let's have a look what they look like. And then the other thing we need to do is, well, 2 things: enemy to player collision, and enemy to player collision and passable area collision as well. Yeah. So passable areas is just we need to add a bit of extra information into here. We'll do that next, because that's like the next big thing, I think. But it should be pretty easy to do, because we already have an X and Y. We've already worked out what the X and Y is for that top corner. So from that, we can work out what our char X and char Y are for those locations. We can actually use that same kind of table that we've got down at the bottom. But instead of having an offset from the screen area, we can have an X and a Y value instead. Which would just be, yeah, I'll figure it out. It's probably be a slightly longer table, but oh no, we've got a jam. Why have we got a jam? That's something to do with this. So maybe we do need this here. Let's put it in just in case we do. Yeah, seems counterintuitive to have that there twice, but I think that's required. If they reach an open door at the moment, they'll probably go through it and they may crash. That's another thing we need to deal with. So, for instance, if I try and destroy these things without actually destroying the, oh no, they're getting stuck in the corners now. What's that about? Oh, why are they getting stuck? Oh, I think it's because now they're updating on alternate frames. they're not. Ah, shit, yeah. The alternate frame things is not going to work. Because what happens is they move and they get more into the they get stuck in the background a bit more. So they move and they don't bounce, so they move a bit further in. So when they hit a corner like this, they get stuck in both locations. Because let me see if that's repeatable. If it's repeatable, we can see what turn on and off. It's a nice solution, and I still think we can make it work somehow. But for now, I'm just gonna probably turn it off. Right, so that's what they do. Now let's just turn the staggering off again, which is this bit here. With more range to collision check. See what happens. I might be wrong. I don't want to add too much because it's going to start getting really messy if I start putting too much in. Yeah, they seem to be all right now. I mean, honestly, the difference isn't huge. If I pause it, this is with the full behaviors as well. So this is running 3 behaviors, 3 collisions for the enemies. This isn't that bad. This really isn't that bad, and we can optimize a bit as we go along. So, in the interest of getting through this, as long as we're not seeing flickering and stuttering, I'm just going to carry on. When it starts becoming a performance problem, then I will consider changing things. But let's see what happens if I make a gap for them to come through. Without killing them, hopefully. Yeah, so that one there is probably going to cause a jam when it goes off screen. Oh no, it bounced off the bottom. No, really? Oh no, it's bouncing off memory is what it's doing. It's bouncing off memory. It's not bouncing off. See, it's going down and then it's finding an area of memory that's just beyond the screen memory and bouncing off that instead. So I think we're just getting lucky here. If that memory below there contained anything other than what it's hitting, like if it contained zeros down there, it would be a problem. In fact, I can check that. So this is at C300. So if I look at C3 E8 to C 410. Yeah, see, it's bouncing off this memory here. So if I filled this, no, it's bouncing off the sprite pointers. It's bouncing off the fucking sprite pointers. Or is it? Yeah, it might be. Where would they be? They would be 8, 12 characters in. No, not quite, actually. There is a gap there. 0 zeros. Yeah, because there's a load of zeros here. But that's what it's hitting. It's hitting these values down here. So we probably need to add some range checking into that. I'm not going to do that now. But so basically, if the character X or the character Y is at a certain value, then it's on auto bounce. You don't do the rest of the collision. You just auto bounce. No. If you're at a certain range, then you set the down as all right. Let's do that now. Actually, that's probably a good thing to do. All right, this is probably going to be the last thing we do tonight. Then, in that case, so let's just deal with the Y first, and let's see how this would work. It should be pretty easy to do there. So we'll just leave this. I could do that. I liked that idea as well. It's a shame. Actually, yeah, I'll get rid of the flag as well. But I think we should be doing that at some point, but for now we can get away with not doing it. I'm excited to see Old School Coder's game now. I'm intrigued to see what he's going to do. I'll add the tic tac toe into the Saturday stream as well.
I'll do a little bit more testing on it to make sure it's all right. But I'll add that in. It's not the prettiest game in the world, but it's playable. Good luck beating the computer though. I think it'll time. I think that game's going to time out more than you complete it. Oh, he's going to do the code breaker one first. Okay, cool. Right. So all we need to do is set the vertical if we're moving up or down. If we hit 0 or well, actually, it depends on the direction as well, doesn't it? So do we do bounds checks here? Maybe. Well, we definitely need to store the char X and the char Y. So we want to grab that top corner that we've got up here, which is this one here. So we've already got char X stored here. Char Y is the value in X here. Okay, so what I'm going to do, we have char X already, so I'm going to put store X in char Y. And I'm going to put char Y down here somewhere. So we've already got char X. We just need to use char Y. So let's just put char Y here for now. I'll work out how we're going to use it. Okay. Let's make sure there's no other version of that. I don't think there is. I think I took it out before. So char X, yeah, okay. So given these values and our deltas, we need to do various things. So the first thing we need to know is char X. Let's just do char Y, right? So we want to know if char Y, which is our top one above the row that we're on. So the rows go down to the last row is 24, which means if a sprite is in that location, then it's going to be 24, 23. Its top location is going to be 22. So if the value is 22 or higher, then we need to make sure that these are non-zero values. So 0, 1 would be enough in here. So first of all, let's check screen bounds, let's call it. So we'll start with delta Y, comma Y. And if that is negative, we go to neg. Otherwise, we'll do positive here. And we'll do pos, neg, done. This has to happen before behaviors. Apply behaviors. And what do we need to do? Okay, so char Y is probably going to need to be a variable somewhere. So let's keep it local to this. We can just use the self mod char X from up there, so that's fine. So we're moving positively. So we need to check if our character X, so our char Y, char Y, and we need to compare that to 22, which is 16 in hex. And if that is okay, let's put collide here as well, right? So branch if carry clear means we're less than that, done. So we don't need to do anything. Otherwise, we need to jump to collide. So we'll do and then negative wise, this would be if our value is at 0, basically. Because if we're in the very top space, then the HUD is the only thing above us. So this needs to be if char Y is equal to 0. Thank you very much for the follow, Pan Spinning Kids. So we don't need to do compare to 0. We can just say branch equal collide. Oh, well, branch if not equal, done. And then collide is automatically below us, so we don't need to do anything. And then collide is just going to be taking the value 1. Oh, God damn it. Do you forget which keyboard I've got? And then storing that at collide v1, comma y, and collide v2, comma y.
Yeah, thanks for the follow, Pen Spinning Kids. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing well. Have a drink on me. I'm only drinking limeade tonight, so nothing fancy. It is, however, very, very delicious. Wouldn't using zero page values be a little bit faster? Yeah, where I've been doing this, it probably would be a little bit faster. Actually, this is for collision, isn't it? Yeah, so I probably will. Yeah, let's move this into temp 3 then. Char-X I'll leave though, because we're storing that in a lookup here, so that's fine. But the thanks Nickmo for the bits. But I will move. Well, actually, I'll move both in. Might as well. I'll give you some points for that as well. I do like to use self mod for these, but as soon as we are using them in several places, I will do that. So it does slow this down ever so slightly, but we make up for it by using zero page here. So this would only be 3 instead of 4 cycles. This would be 3 instead of 2 cycles. So it just balances out. So that's fine. But the bit real, like normally I would just leave it at that. But because we're using it in more places, it makes sense to keep it at 0 page. Otherwise, we'd be using 4 cycles every time. I'm trying to avoid 0 page where I can. I'd much rather use these kind of. Actually, here's probably a good idea as well, because we've got 1 store, 2 lookups. So yeah, let's move cardinal as well. We're using a lot of 0 page stuff here, but I think we'll be all right. I'm going to give you some points for that as well, because I think you're right. That's a few optimizations there as well, Nicomo. Well done. Thank you for the bits as well, Nicomo. Appreciate it. I need to get another drink. I've got another drink here. I already brought 2 because I love it that much. I knew I was going to need a second one. Cheers. Yeah, so that'll be a few bites, a few cycles saved there. Let me just open that to get it brighter. Oh well, 65XX code, automatic follow. Thank you very much. Yeah, gotta love 6510 or 6502, depending on your particular flavour of the best CPU ever. Join in the next Wordle. Take a break. What is it? If it's up, I'll join in. I'll keep it down there. I'll try and guess with you. Actually, we do it with the with this. A bit easier to see on this one. But I'm gonna keep coding as I do it. I'll just have a guess. I won't press play and join in unless you really need me to join in. Typing's a little bit hard on the thing, so I'll just join in and add my little guesses in there as well. You can see Andy type boobs in. Yeah, he doesn't he, every time. Okay, so with that in mind now, what was I doing? I forgot what I was doing there. I lost track. Char-X, Char-Y, that was it. Yeah. So the Char-X and Char-Y are going to be useful for passable area lookups. That's going to be good. So behaviors. Okay, so Char-X, Char-Y. Okay, so it is here. So this is checking the screen bound. So at the moment we're just checking top and bottom, and we should bounce off the bottom. So now it should bounce a bit. It shouldn't kind of disappear off the bottom. It should bounce like off the bottom of the map rather than like halfway through the bottom of the map. I do need to go up and carve a path out though as well. Have I made a mistake somewhere? I think I have. I don't know. Oh yeah, I've done it again. Data bot. Why? That's fine. Okay. Yeah. All right. That should work. So we're gonna do about another 10 minutes, and then we'll stop and go and raid somebody. 10-15 minutes. I want to get this bit done. Plan. Why does people go for words like that? You want as many vowels as you can in the first one. Audio, raise is a good one because it has an R and S in it, which are 2 common letters as well. Plant broke OSK's dodgy program. Yeah, audio is a good one, but the only problem with audio is the D is not a very common letter, but it does give you the U in the right place. Actually, there's not many words with U as the second letter without any of those. So, super's a good one. Although you use the P, but okay, but it's got an R. But it's not got an E. Okay, so we know it's only got a U in it. So it's a 5-letter word, 4 consonants and a U, because I can't imagine there's 2 U's in this. So murky, as in murky waters. That would be my guess, because that would use, yeah, murky waters. Yeah. Okay. Had to be a Y at the end, didn't it? Okay, so URCY. URCY. So D F N P Q R S T U V or V. Curvy. Very fucking hell. Damn. Yeah, the double R threw me there as well. The double letters are a pain in the ass. Double letters really are a pain in the ass, because you don't think to use them twice, but they're just as likely to be those letters as any other letter you're going to pick. So you tend not to think about them, and they can be your downfall, especially double vowels. Double vowels are a bitch. But usually you can tell with a double vowel, because it kind of gets a bit more. Yeah, there we go. You see it bounce off the bottom properly then. So watch when it comes down now. Bounces off the bottom properly. The same will happen at the top up here. It's just we don't have a gap at the top. So let's go ahead and do the same on the X. It should be pretty easy to figure out what the values are, and we'll just test it when we get to a screen that needs it. So I'm not going to bother completely testing it, because it should be enough to just assume that if we copy the behavior from the Y and do it with the X values, that we should get the same result. So this is check screen bounds Y. Check screen balance. Screen bounds X. So the only thing here is we don't have a HUD on this side, on the negative side. So when we get to that position, the char is going to be a negative value. So in this rare case, we're going to, with the debugger, oh yeah, it could do, couldn't we? Yeah, it's not a bad idea as well. So what we'll do in the case of left and right, in fact, we can do it with top and bottom as well. We can reduce it so that instead of them going all the way to the edge of the map, they go 1 character less than the edge of the map. In which case, we need to just reduce this by 1, and that's the X one. Let's reduce this one by 1. Sorry, and we will do a comparison here. We'll compare this with. 01. No, 02. Yeah, so now we're comparing against. Oops, we're just pulling the screen in a little bit, so there's an 8 pixel border around the collision zone for these characters. So we do the same on this side. We can pretty much keep this exactly the same as this up here. But with chart X instead, and these obviously need to be on horizontal and vertical. Then the only other value we need to calculate is this. So if we're at the far edge of the screen, right against the edge, then we're at position 39, 38, 38. That's where we are. So if we're at position 38, then our our actual collision check is at 37. So 37 is right against the screen, but we want to come one in, so it'll be 36. So this will be 2-4. And if it's less than but this needs to be +1 because it's BCC. Yeah, to match this. Is that right? So this would be 16 more. Yeah, that's right, I think. Well, we can check it out. We can load it in the debugger and see what happens, as Nicomo says. Good point. Good night, pan spinning kids. Thank you for joining. Hope to see more of you. Always good to see a newcomer. Tweeting is legal and also therapy. God damn it, Kanye's an idiot. he's a pure idiot. Right, let's just make sure that the collision at the bottom's working. Then, if it's working, we'll just go ahead and load up the debugger and just get rid of the walls, basically. Yeah, see, it's bouncing one less than the edge now, which is exactly what we want. So let's open this in the debugger. And then I think we'll call it a night there once this is working. So it was a little bit slower than I'd anticipated, but that's because we've kind of actually improved the system a little bit by changing the way the collision works and giving us... tell me randomly, was Harrison Ford's idea so that he could take a bathroom break? It is missing the start, isn't it? Yeah. That's an API fail. That I don't know why that's done that. Obviously, the API, the database didn't have the complete fact. What was the? What's it on about? Can you give me the full fact, Andy? What's the full fact? Because to me, that's just gibberish. Shooting the guy in the market. Well, in Indiana Jones. Why was I thinking? I kept thinking Star Wars then for some reason. Okay, so let's go up and let's just start deleting the screen here. So let's just make a big. Well, we need a big hole on this side, don't we? So, and we need to get rid of these passable areas. Oh, I didn't see where that bounced off. Okay, it bounced a little bit soon. I think we need to reduce that. That's fine. Let's just get rid of this side over here. Okay, that side's fine, but this side was a little bit too soon, I think. Yeah, too soon on that side. All right, so... Oh yeah, because it would be minus. Yeah, sorry, that's right. Because if you're against that edge of the screen, your number's actually -1. So if you come in by 1, your number is 0. So this is a branch if equal sort of thing. So actually, it was fine the first time. So this is branch if not equal. So that was fine the first time. All right. Okay, the scene where Indiana Jones shoots the Swordsman Heroes was idea so we could take a bathroom break. Yeah, my cats do that. Actually, the white one's really submissive. So Evie, the youngest one, she's obviously into a house with 2 sibling cats that are much older than her, and she's very submissive. Like if she wants to, she'll fight them and she'll be quite aggressive with them. But most of the time, she spends. She leaves Troy alone, the boy cat. She leaves him alone, but Flor, the girl cat, she will constantly go up and rub her head against her, as if say, "Look, I'm just being friendly. I'm being friendly." But Flor's having none of it. She's just not interested at all. I think if she could speak, Flor would just be saying, "Fuck off, go away, fuck off." But she can't, so it's kind of funny. She just gets followed around by this cat that she doesn't want anything to do with, and unfortunately, Evie can't read the signals at all. Just assumes that that everything's fine and that what she's doing is perfectly acceptable, even though it's not. It's cute, yeah. It's cute and a little bit sad. There we go. Right. I wonder why I wasn't loading up then. Okay, let's delete shit on this screen then. Not this one, sorry, this one. So it's this side I'm interested in, but I need to delete the man, the debugger's cool, isn't it? I mean, it's so easy to do stuff like this. I didn't even think of doing this, so I'm going to give you 5 points again there, Nick. This is a good solution for testing. I think you're way ahead, aren't you, on that table? I need to start applying Andy rules to you, or slow you down. Good night, Microman. You can be fined up to £1,000 for whistling on a Sunday in Salt Lake City. Wow. Oh, I didn't see that. Did that go? It should go. Yeah, that's kind of. Actually, is that right? I think it was right. Yeah, it is. Okay, cool. So there we go. We've got bounds checking on that. On these. So I'm going to leave it there. We'll continue this next week. No, Saturday, sorry, not next week. We'll continue this on Saturday with Andy Rules. Andy Rules is where I'm extra strict with you. Like, towards the end of the year last year, I was really strict with Andy. Andy needed to work twice as hard as anybody else to get the points. Yeah, torture. Yeah. So yeah, on Saturday we'll do the passable areas next. Shouldn't be too bad, but every time I've said that, like I said, it just ends up taking longer. And then we just need to make it kill the player, and we can move on. And we actually have a huge kind of piece of the puzzle in place, which should make even more of the screens quicker. Like the next screen is just enemies. It's just enemies and behaviors, so we can make them. We can make them pretty quickly, I think, because rockets are just an enemy that moves in a given direction. In this case, it'll be a rocket that faces up, so there'll be a move. Well, it's just with its delta. You just say it's delta, and when it hits something, instead of bouncing, explode on contact. And that's the only other enemy on that screen, I think. Oh no, I think there's some bouncing enemies, but we've already got the bouncing enemies, so that's good. So yeah, it should be pretty easy to do more of these. As I say, every time we do a screen that's got new features in it, the rest are going to get easier and easier. Are you going to leave the bounce based on the sprout side rather than how many pixels it occupies? Yes. It's based on it's based on a 16 by 16 grid of characters. So it is literally just like a square bouncing around, rather than you could make it bounce. It would be far too complicated to start. Do you mean like if you hit a single pixel at the right angle, you'll bounce off at a different? You mean like more like a kind of snooker type algorithm where you're actually working out proper angles of incidence rather than just a straightforward kind of bounce off the wall sort of thing? Treat everything as a flat surface. I'm not sure what you mean there. Oh, well, yeah. So this is the problem, because of the way that the collision works. The collision is averaging, it's rounding the values. So if your character is bang on a pixel grid line, then it's actually going to be shifted over. It needs to be, for it to be perfectly accurate, it needs to kind of be half and half on. It's unfortunately, because of the way it moves, it's a 16 by 16 sprite, and it's moving over a grid of 8 by 8 squares. We can't change the size of the 8 by 8s, so we have to take the worst case scenario, which is where it's halfway into the chars around the outside, and there's only one solid one in the middle. We have to take that as the worst case scenario. So you either have it so the ball reaches the wall completely and goes into it, or you have it stop just short of it, which is why I changed the code to do this. As for whether or not we want to change it, can't think of a decent way of doing it. I mean, you'd have to adjust your algorithm based on the direction you were moving, and that would be a whole different set of characters, different to the bullets. So if you look at it, it's not too bad. I mean, they're not far. They're never going to be like about 4 pixels or so off. They should be. It's hard to catch them in that position, though, unfortunately. It's only like 4 pixels off, and then it changes. I think it's a small compromise for performance. I think the performance drop from having them super accurate to the walls would be difficult. I mean, not impossible. Definitely not impossible. Just trying to think if I was to change. I mean, maybe if we've got time on Saturday, maybe we'll play about with it a bit, because maybe there's a way of changing the rounding. So if you're moving up, you floor a value. If you're moving down, you ceiling a value. So instead of doing round, we work out which direction we're moving in, and we either floor or ceiling the values that we can get we're either checking a little bit kind of higher or a little bit lower, depending on the direction. That might actually work and be quite speedy. Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. I'll have a think about it, because I think that might work actually, because we already know the deltas. We might be able to, but the problem is the bullets, right? So we've got 2 systems using the same screen offset. We've got the bullet system, which needs the screen offset to be where it is for the bullets to properly glide past the enemy and only hit at the right points. You see how they're actually that one didn't seem to. Oh yeah, it does take damage. And then you've got the bouncing against the walls, which is a bit different, because now we're searching outwards a little bit, so we're checking before we get there have we hit something. So we can probably pull those things back, but we'd have to change the screen lookup address to do that. I'll have a think about it. There is a possibility. I thought it was going to be more complicated than it is, but when I think about it, it's just a matter of shifting that index a little bit, either shifting it down or shifting it up a little bit, and it'd be just, yeah. There might be a few extra tables, or the based on the sprite position. I'll have a think about it anyway. On one screen is an enemy that is static. When you shoot him, he starts moving. That's fine. He can have a persistent flag to say whether he's active or not. So he can have a behavior which is activate, which if he gets shot, so if his hit points is not the hit points he started on, then he starts moving. So it'll have a persistent active flag, basically. That's easy enough. There's a few things like that we can. Everything we've done so far, we can adapt to make things work. There's only a few systems we don't have in place, but once we've got those systems in place, everything is really just building blocks for all the screens, which is kind of the aim of this. Let's go and raid Noodle. I've not seen Noodle for a while, actually. She's playing. What is that? Leisure Suit Larry. Awesome. Is it? I see Leisure Suit written on the wall, but it doesn't look familiar for some reason. It looks. Let's just go and raid her anyway. Whatever. Okay, well, we'll go and raid her now, and I shall see you all on Saturday. Yeah, the engine is flexible enough to implement. That's the cool thing about it, is it really is flexible enough to do a ton of stuff that we might not otherwise be able to do easily. That's why it's taken so long to get to this point, because we've written so much which is flexible in order to make the writing the screens easier. But it means that when the game's finished, we've got something that we can easily reuse to make other games as well. Or if we wanted to make like Cecconoid 2, it would be super, super simple. Okay, cool. Right, I shall see you all. Leisure Suit Larry, Wet Dreams. I was going to say it didn't look quite like Leisure Suit Larry, but I saw Leisure Suit written on the wall. So, I shall see you all on Saturday then. Take care, guys. I'm going to go and give my cats a little bit more food to hopefully chill them out. Cheerio. See you Saturday.
Thank you so much for the raise.